ちの歌消えない心の傷メシアを求め続けたあの日の夜
What's up, everyone? This is Anime Degens episode 80, and I'm with Nam today. And we also got a special guest as well. We got HollywoodHexx joining us from the Scary Hours Mob. And what we're going to be doing today, we're kind of going to do a little mid-season check-in for the summer season. We're going to let y'all know kind of what our favorites / must-watches are of the season. And it's gonna be quite a bit of them. First, like we're gonna have Nam and Hexx join us, and then me and Hexx has watched way more shows. So then we're gonna be doing a little duo after Nam leaves, and so I think we're gonna cover like 10 plus shows. So it's gonna be a kind of long one today, but we're also gonna have some fun. So, but I guess to start it off, like Nam, how you doing today? You having a great day?
Pretty good. I'm doing pretty good. It was a good day at work. Had a lot of time to talk to people about tech and stuff like that. So I'm always having a good day when I get to do that. What about you? How are you doing, Tyler? You having good weather again?
Well, not exactly. It's actually been cool, but it's been raining and stuff, or trying to rain. So it is what it is, But
I got you.
Other than that, HollywoodHexx, how you doing?
Hey, what's going on, fellas? Thank you for having me. I'm happy to be here.
Hell yeah, it's good to hear. And I just want to know, like, it just popped in my head just now, like, what is the most like what's the best Japanese word that y'all can think of off the top of your head? Just curious. No, I'll let you go first. That way, because Hollywood's the guest, right? So we gotta let him have a little extra time.
Nani? What? What's going on here?
I don't know. It just popped in my head. I was like, that's fun. Like, we should just ask that,
Don't be dropping that on me, too. Put me on the spot.
What about you, Hexx? What you got for us?
It's not a good word, but one of the ones that I love hearing, especially in animes when characters are mad, is kusoyaro, which probably means, I think it's a loose translation. It means asshole. So we're going to start. This is the mood that we're in today. We're starting off with the bad words. We're getting them out nice and early. So that and baka. I like baka too, just calling people dumb.
There you go. I think mine is like gomenasai. I'm sorry or whatever. So that's a pretty fun one. I like hearing it a lot. So
you're a humble guy, Tyler. That's what I love about you, brother. You're a humble dude.
But yeah,
somebody didn't say too humble.
Nah, there's no such thing as too humble, man.
But
not with this guy, anyways.
But yeah, I just was thinking about that. Maybe that's why I had such a hard time like starting the episode. We had to like redo the intro like 3 times because I just kept on like blanking of what I was supposed to say. So
I was so proud when you finally got it out, though.
Yeah. Hopefully I said the right number. So anyways,
you did, yes.
Anyways, before we get started today, I just want to let y'all know the best way to support us, like always, is rate the podcast, tell your friends about us. If you have any interesting topics or anything like that you want us to cover or talk about or discuss, any, all that good stuff, make sure you let us know in Discord, DM me, socials, any of that stuff, linktree.com/animedegens. And before we get started into the mid-season check-in, we're just going to get to know HollywoodHexx a little bit. We always try to do like a little session before we get into it when we have a new guest on. So I guess the first thing we want to do is just let us know who you are. Obviously, I've said HollywoodHexx, but let us know who you are. Tell us a little bit about what you do, what your content is, and like where people can find you and the Scary Hours Mob.
So thanks, Tyler. Again, thank you for having me. Nam, pleasure to be here with you one more time. Basically, it's just a bunch of us buddies that got together. We've been gaming together since about 2016, and that's when the inception of Scary Hours Mob came to be. it's essentially my buddies that we all met playing Tom Clancy's Division 1 on PlayStation 4. I want to say maybe March 2016. And I've formed really, really deep bonds with these fellas. And we've been playing together for years. We know each other's families, just a bunch of great guys that I've gotten to know and respect and love and admire. And we're always talking shit in our party chats and stuff like that. So we figured, why not just record some of the stuff that we're talking about? Because somebody's got to find this funny. Like, we can't be the only ones to make ourselves pop in these party chats. Like, because there are times that we're crying in tears, laughter. Well, at least I am. And it's a great time. So we were like, why not just, why do we have to stop there with just gaming, and let's try to encompass that into some type of content creation. So we decided actually this year to finally, after so many years, just start uploading it to YouTube and see what happens. We play video games together. Gaming is what brought us together. And on top of that, we want to include other aspects because we all love music. We all have interest in music. We all have interest in fashion, art, stuff like that. So like, essentially we're a jack of all trades, master of none necessarily. Because like on our channel, we want to talk about gaming. We want to talk about anime. We want to do a little bit of everything. We don't want to limit ourselves. So that's essentially how the Scary Hours Mob came into existence. And me, I'm just a dude, man. Like, I'm just a dude that likes nerdy things, man. Like, I've been like that since a little kid, and I hope that it'll never change. That's it.
Hell yeah. I mean, that's kind of how I guess that's kind of how like me and Nam became friends and stuff. We met through gaming and stuff like that. So
That's it.
it's happens to a lot of people. So
Yeah.
But I'm also curious, like Scary Hours Mob, right? Like that's y'all's
Right.
name. I always
Right.
wonder, like, if it's a unique name. Like, I always wonder how you came up with that. Like, so how did you come up with that? If you don't mind me asking.
Absolutely. I'd love to talk about that. So Scary Hours is basically, as far as the best way that I could translate it to is the late hours of the morning. So the scary hours when all the creatures go bump in the night, for lack of a better term, the late hours. And that's when we do the best gaming. And that's some of the best times that we had is like real late night gaming when everybody's sleepy. They got to go to work the next day or the weekend. Everybody's tired from work the whole week and everybody's delirious. And you start saying stupid stuff to each other and like just cracking up laughing. And, so essentially the Scary Hours is just hours. If I had to put a timestamp to it, I would say probably between 1:30 a.m. to 3 a.m., which is the Scary Hours. And then Mob is actually a call to one of my favorite hip hop groups of all time, Mobb Deep.
Psycho? Oh.
Mobb Deep. I like Mob Psycho, but it's Mob with two B's in honor of a hip hop duo from Queens, New York, Mobb Deep. So Scary Hours, Mobb Deep. A lot of people think that essentially it came from Drake, the rapper Drake, which is not true. Because he had a couple of mixtapes a few years ago called The Scary Hours. So, hopefully one day I won't get served with like a cease and desist or something like that. But he doesn't own the rights to it or anything. So I think we're going to be in the clear.
Some might say, the Scary Hours are about roughly the same as like the Degen hours. So
yeah, or the sad boy hours. If you're like me, there's a lot of sad boy hours going on sometimes, where you stay up late at night contemplating life, listening to music, late night driving, all that stuff. So sad boy hours equals scary hours sometimes,
Oh yeah. And another question I got for you, just to get to know you a little bit more. Like, do you have like a favorite genre demographic? Like, what's your go-to like style of anime? Like your favorite style,
So for a very, very, very long time, I used to be a shonen seinen bro.
Okay.
Like I was heavy. Like I wouldn't watch anything that wasn't hyper violent, that didn't have fights and flashy colors. But in 2023, just last year, that I became a seasonal anime watcher, started watching ROMs, started watching Slice of Lifes. So at the end of the day, I'm always gonna be a shonen seinen bro. But I enjoy other things now. Like I opened my mind up. I started being more open minded for the things that I consume, and I got tired. Essentially, like I referenced it earlier. I don't like to limit myself in any aspect. So the way I saw it is that I'm limiting myself with the anime that I consume. So I might as well start branching out. And that's how it was. It was super, super, super easy. I'm just like an easygoing dude, and I was like, let me watch this stuff, man. It looks cool. And then sometimes when I'm scrolling through Crunchyroll, and I see like, a thumbnail that's appealing, I'll click on it, read the description, and that's pretty much it. So to answer your question, shonen is obviously, and seinen is always going to be like my go-to, but I enjoy other things now. I'm enjoying quite a bit of slice of life lately these days. So
Oh yeah. I love to hear it. I love, having more people join me. So in my endeavors.
right.
I'm
Yeah, you used
glad
to
that
be a
you,
shonen bro too, right, Tyler?
It's been a while, but yeah.
a long time ago. No, I'm glad that you have a much more honest reason as to
Refined
why.
palate.
Well, I was gonna say a much more understanding reason to watch more animes. I only started
Right.
watching more animes because I was paying for a subscription, so I was gonna get my use out of it. Damn it!
I mean, that's as good a reason as any, but I just don't like to limit myself. Like, that's pretty much it.
Oh yeah. Speaking of like limiting yourself, like if somebody wanted to like start watching anime, right? They're new to anime. Like I want to
Right.
know like what would you recommend them? Like what anime would you tell a new person to go watch? You could give me like one or two.
Okay, so for a new person, I would normally start them off really light with, something that's on the shorter side. So the gateway anime for a lot of people that I've met in my life is Death Note. But Death Note is complex themes. So it
It's a little
could be a
dark
little,
too.
yeah, no, it could be a little much for an anime beginner. But if you just want to jump in straight to the deep end, yeah, that's a good one to start because it's short, if I'm not mistaken, as well, like 26 episodes, something like that. And
I think so.
I got to double check, but it is a shorter one. My personal favorite of all time as a starter anime, the one that I would give as a rec was Cowboy Bebop. It's a classic. It's timeless. Great voice acting. Uh, the animation is great for how old it is. It's a short one. That one's like 26 episodes, and it has a couple of movies. So a good starter anime is Cowboy Bebop. That's something that'll pull you right in. That's a fair jumping point, I would say.
Yeah, and Cowboy Bebop has actually got like a very great dubbed voice cast. Like I don't watch it subbed, like it's only
Right.
dubbed. Like it's that good, and like it's a classic. Like you can't go wrong watching Cowboy Bebop, especially if you like come from like real life TV and stuff. Like this is pretty close to real life TV. You got your
Right.
guns, you got your space shit. Like it's a good time. So
Right. And it's funny, you and I actually had this conversation before, Tyler. Like, I don't think I've ever watched Cowboy Bebop in Japanese ever. And I probably
yeah.
never will. I mean, I might for funsies one day. But like I've only ever watched Cowboy Bebop in dub. So that's to me, like I hear the dub voices essentially in my mind when I think of Cowboy Bebop.
Yeah,
But yeah,
it
26
just feels
episodes,
right.
good
So,
starter. Yeah, for sure.
alrighty. You got any questions you want to ask?
First question is going to be obviously the most important one. Favorite
Let me
One
have
Piece
it, bro.
character.
My favorite One Piece character is Trafalgar D. Waterlaw. Spoiler in that name, by the way.
Nice.
He is my favorite character. My favorite Straw Hat. I know you didn't ask me that question, but I'm gonna answer it
The
anyway.
man.
Trafalgar D. Law that's my boy. My favorite Straw Hat, Tony Chopper, man.
Okay.
My favorite Straw Hat.
Okay, respectable. I dig it.
I love the whole crew. Obviously, that goes without saying, but Chopper's adorable, man. Like, who doesn't love Chopper? Like, let's be honest, who doesn't love Chopper?
The world government.
The pet, the Straw Hat's pet.
Who's
I'm just saying, why they gotta disrespect him like that? Give him a real
Right.
bounty. He deserves it.
Bro, while
Poor
we're talking about
thousand berry bounty, man. Poor guy.
while we're talking about One Piece, like who's the number 3? Who's the true number 3? Sanji or Jinbei?
It's Sanji, man. Sanji's number 3, man. Like,
Boy, we better be glad
mean,
Dan ain't here today.
you know what it is? Like, I feel bad for Sanji because it's like, man, like, it's a running gag. I get that it's a running gag, but he really is the number 3. Like, everyone knows that he's the number 3. You know? Don't get me wrong. Jinbei has helped the crew out of some sticky situations, but Sanji, he's one of the pillars, man.
Hell yeah. Okay. Yeah, I just had to know. So, Nam, you have anything else?
I do, yes. You mentioned gaming earlier and stuff like that. I noticed that you mentioned Division 1. And I think you said like Rainbow Six at some point in our discussions earlier.
Yes.
What other kind of games and stuff like that? Like what's your favorite genre that you like to get into?
I mean, for me, again, for a long time, I was a first person shooter, bro. That's all I played for many, many years. But I would also, just as much, I would play action adventure. So my go-to is and always will be action adventure. To be a little bit more specific, I like the stealth genre. So like I'm a big fan of like this Ubisoft games. Like I'm a big fan of, Splinter Cell, Ghost Recon, Metal Gear Solid are some of my favorites. Like, because you're all alone and you got to survive and you got to make, you got to make shit happen for yourself. Nobody's coming for help. So you got to get down and get in and get out the best way you can by yourself. So action adventure is always going to be a go-to for me.
Okay. Are you excited for the new Assassin's Creed with how that's going to work?
I am. I said this as a joke, Nam, but I'm very serious because of the negative backlash that's been going on with Assassin's Creed Shadows. I'm going to buy it physical, which I don't buy physical. I've switched to buying digital only many years ago. I'm going to buy it physical and I'm going to buy it digital. I made that commitment that I'm going to buy it twice because I'm going to love that game twice as hard for all the haters out of spite for them.
Okay.
Well,
That's how we
hate
like
on it.
cut off stockings, baby.
Well, what is people hating on it for? I'm just curious. I'm out of the loop.
I mean,
the main character, right?
Okay.
So it's I'll get into it real quick. I'll do the quick part, right? So the main character is a black samurai named Yusuke. He is an actual historical person.
Correct.
So that's what I was hearing everybody like a lot of people complaining about. I thought it was like an anime or something that they was complaining about. So
that is what people are complaining about. An historical figure being a main character of a game.
Right.
Yeah.
Get the fuck over yourselves.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's
no, it's a big point of contention. So. See, here's the thing. Like we know why, people are really upset about, but again, that's neither here nor there. That's not the place for the discussion is anime Degens. We're going to keep it lighthearted. We know the real reason. If you're a mature adult and you know what's going on, you know the real reason. But there really is contention behind the historical documents of Yusuke in Japan. So people are half wrong, are mostly wrong, but like they're kind of half right too. Because like he was in fact a living person, a part of, a certain time period. He was a retainer for Oda Nobunaga, which was a shogun of Japan. And
famous.
There's just no documentation about him. That's really what it is. So it's like there's no deep down proof that he actually was a samurai, and it's a very proud samurai culture.
It doesn't matter. So
this is what's a prideful culture. You know what I mean? Specifically when it comes to samurai. We see that in anime all the time.
I mean, it's funny too because just one last thing. Somebody asked the Japanese government to intervene on it, and they're like,
"Right?
No. Why do we care? Let them do their fucking game."
I think that they're missing the biggest point. The point is that Assassin's Creed games are always based on historical fiction, because in Assassin's Creed 3, George Washington becomes evil. In the DLC, he becomes evil and is the king of the United States, and you have to fight George Washington. That didn't happen in real life, and nobody got in a hissy
Fucking
fit about that. So who
butthurt,
cares?
yeah.
Historical fiction.
Exactly.
Relax. Have a Coke and a smile. Be quiet and have fun.
Yeah, it's just a game, you know what I mean? Just
That's it,
chill.
dude.
If you
Historical
don't like
fiction.
it, don't get it, I guess. I don't know.
Don't play it.
That's exactly it. That's exactly it.
But yeah. Um any more questions now?
No, that was about it. I
Okay.
feel like that obviously, like I said, the most important question we got out of the way first and foremost. So
I honestly like
Yeah.
sub or dubbed, but like we've already said, it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
Enjoy
no, for me
anime
it
how
doesn't matter. That's
it
that's
is.
an that's to me the sub and dub argument is just as dumb as the argument with Assassin's Creed and Yusuke.
I'm
Like
pretty
Yep.
sure we had like a whole segment on the sub and dub question like a long time ago when we was doing 2 segments an episode or whatever. And yeah, it was,
I watch both because I'm non-committal. How about that?
I
There
mostly
you
watch
go.
dub, but I do enjoy dubbed a lot for some shows.
Right. No,
So
dub does have, it has great casts, but again, it's at the end of the day, we're all watching and enjoying the same shows. So
I will
what does it
say
matter?
I will say though, like the dubbed watchers, they are like missing out. I feel like on especially like newer shows and like some shows that don't even get dubbed, right?
Right.
Like they're missing out because they don't want to watch sub. But like I said, not everyone has the opportunity to watch subbed. Some people just don't have the attention span. Some people just don't have like the environment to watch it. There's all different kinds of reasons why people watch dubbed.
Right. The biggest notable thing that I enjoy sub a lot is because you notice the effort from the actors. The
Yeah,
effort is way more. It's
the emotion and
different.
stuff.
Yeah, it's the effort is very much on point when it comes to Japanese. But that the same could be said by certain animes too. Like my favorite of all time, the question that you guys didn't ask, Dragon Ball. The English voice cast is incredible. Everybody is incredible on the
Yep.
English voice cast. So Sean Shamel, he the voice actor for Goku, he passed out in the booth one time. That's like he confirmed it. That happened. Like he was going so hard going in there during the transformation that he screamed until he passed out. That's awesome. Like
Yeah.
what a saint.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. But yeah, I guess like if we don't have any other questions, then I guess it's time to move on to what everyone came
shows.
for, I guess. So
Yes, sir.
well, so this is where we start our mid-season check-in. Like I said, we're gonna talk about some of our must-watches / favorite shows, and it's time to see, what we're kind of thinking about them since this, season is halfway over officially. We're gonna do it just a little bit different this time. Like I mentioned before, we're gonna talk about the shows that Nam has seen first, which is Elusive Samurai, My Dear Friend Nokotan, and Wistoria. And then Hollywood and I are gonna talk about the rest of our favorites after. It's gonna be like 8 shows or something like that. So most shows are around episode 6 right now, give or take a few. So with that being said, like there is possibility that there will be spoilers in this episode because we're going to try our best to keep it light, but we may get into spoilers, just a warning. So we are going to have timestamps for each show, so skip around if you want to the shows that you watch, shows that you're interested in, all that good stuff. Yeah. And basically the first up we got, like I said, 3 of our must watch shows. And I'll go ahead and get started with the first one, and that is Elusive Samurai. And so basically, this show is, I think, about halfway over now. It's episode 6, I believe. But this is a really fun anime. This looks so beautiful. Like it's really well animated. Like shout out Cloverworks because they just got done throwing heat at Windbreaker from last season. Now they coming in swinging this season with Elusive Samurai, and they're doing such a great job. Like the reactions and the expressions are like really crazy. Like they're exaggerating the villains with like weird designs and stuff. I don't know if y'all have noticed that, but I love that. I love the weird designs, like the eyes are so weird, bug eyed, and like turn different ways. I'm pretty sure like they animated the ears for that one dude, like they put like
Yeah,
a face on it or something. Like I really love that. So I don't know how y'all feel about that, but I really loved
I
it.
love it.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. They're doing a really good job when it comes to just how they're portraying everyone, right? Even like the main characters, they're very believable in their builds and stuff like that. Their abilities and stuff like that don't seem too far fetched. And then the villains just they're really showing off like their worst traits, which is I think
Mm.
fantastic too. Cause you like the archer dude, big eyes, stuff like that. You got that one rodent dude who can sniff people out even in the dark. There's like a lot of different characteristics that they're really drawing out of the villains.
Yeah, it's just the villains though, which is like cool. Like they're literally making the villains look bad, you know, and I like that. So you can
Yeah.
tell. But
Yeah, if I'm not
uh
mistaken, all the villains are based on well, I don't know if all the characters, but like the villains are all based on actual historical people. They have like little tidbits during the show when they describe who the villains are. That for example, like one of the villains, the Sudamune, the guy with the eyeballs.
Mhm.
When they first introduce him, they show him as being one of the most like brutal warlords in Japan ever, which I think is really cool. So they're almost like kind of making light of these historical figures and like kind of make poking fun at them a little bit because obviously they're the villains. We're not supposed to root for them or anything like that. So I do like that as well.
yeah. Yeah, it's really good that they're doing that because like they've obviously shown that like they can animate really well and make things look really good, and they just go out of their way to make it look bad, but
Right.
in a weird way, in a good way too. So, um,
Right. No, I think that that's something that this show excels at is the transitions. The very first episode is filmed like a movie. It's beautiful, gorgeous,
direction is great, you know.
absolutely beautiful. One of the best opening or pilot episodes that I've seen of all the new animes this season. Definitely up there. And just the transition, the art, the animation, the sound, the music, everything about this show is hitting checking off all these boxes, and they're doing a phenomenal job. I'm excited to see where this season is going to go.
Oh yeah, and also like I really enjoyed it. This show, even though it's serious and has like darker moments sometimes,
Hmm.
like it's actually a really funny show. And
It is. Mhm.
like I think it's because like Sua's involved, right? And like his character, like the head priest or whatever, his character is like really outlandish and weird, and like he's just like overbearing, right? And like
Right.
it's it makes a lot of situations like less serious, and especially like with his shining, right? Like he's just like
Right.
shining randomly.
Like a
Um,
light bulb when he turns
yeah,
himself on.
and like it's crazy that this dude is actually like Gojo's voice actor, Nakamura.
Yeah, that's
So
awesome.
which is great. Like it's a great voice actor. And like you got some like other standout voice actors, like the voice actor for Mao Mao. She's in here. Ao
Really?
Yuki. She's actually Genba, the thief that just joined us the last couple
Okay.
episodes. So
Hey, that's awesome.
um like there's quite a few like good at like voice act like higher up voice actors in here, and I'm really enjoying that. So, but
Yeah, no,
Yeah, no, they're
this show
doing. Go ahead.
this show is one of those. I'm sorry, no, this show is definitely knocking it out of the park. With every episode, like it's kind of one of those that's keeping a certain pace, in my opinion, and they're doing a great job because even the character development and the world building that they're doing it at a really really good pace. Like how like some shows during uh like they start off like the first two episodes are really really good to kind of pull you in and keep you watching, and then you have like a lull from like episodes 3 to like 6, sometimes 7. This show is not like that, and I really like that about that too.
Yeah, I was actually going to comment that the pacing is really on point because unlike unlike a lot of different other shows and movies, they don't have to. They're not on like this roller coaster ride, right? They're not
Right.
going up and down. There's not any real lulls. Like the whole concept of the show has really set them up to constantly be able to keep up action while still telling the story, keeping up with the drama, all the comedy and stuff like that, and never losing its identity. Like
Right.
a samurai running away.
Yeah.
Right.
Anytime that he gets in a situation, bam, you already have action, and you can throw anything in his way and be something that he runs away. You could have him run away from a bunny rabbit, right?
Right.
That's stupid. That's dumb. Pace is still going up.
Right.
And honestly, like I'm a little scared that when we do hit a lull, it's gonna fall hard. But at the same time, I think that they're doing a really, really good job. They've got themselves set up really well, and the show is carrying itself truly masterclass at this point. I feel
It is, yeah.
Also,
I
it's
like
interesting. It's interesting that like his retainers, right? Like Sua didn't go out and like help find like more adult, like older retainers. He found like kid retainers. And, like that's very interesting. Like to match an already kid, like prince or whatever. I don't know what he is, but to the like to have a group of kids to be his retainers, and apparently that like they're really good or whatever. I want to see how they actually like try to take back what was stolen from him, right? Like I just can't see, like I know it's anime, but I just can't see like that actually happening. A group of kids, even though they're really skilled kids, it's just very hard for me to see them taking out like a huge number of people, right? You know, unless
yeah.
they do anime shit, and I just want to see how how they actually do that, how they handle that situation. So
I think they're going to do long-term storytelling with this anime, or at least that's the impression that I'm getting. Because the reason, my takeaway, the reason that Sua got young retainers for Tokiyuki is because he wanted them to grow up together,
yeah,
learn from each other, and form deep bonds. That he established that essentially. So the more close, it's like essentially like you're working closely like coworkers. You form like this deep camaraderie, which in turn is going to help him achieve great things because he's going to come to rely on these people to do like a really daunting task that lies ahead of them. So I think that Cloverworks or uh, the writers are kept in mind long-term storytelling with at least a few seasons in mind, because I would not be happy if they just kind of do like a little time skip like over one
oh no,
episode and then all of a sudden they're adults, because obviously you know that their final conflict is not going to happen until they're of age, at least, you know what I mean, and they're like kids, like what, like 10, 12 years old right now.
Yeah,
well
yeah,
So
I think.
you would think that, but like also the show is making it seem like the conflict is going to happen while they're kids still, is what I'm
right,
saying. Like
right,
the way the pacing is going and the way the Sua acts, they act like that they're actually going to try to retake what was lost like really like soon, like short term goals, you know,
right.
not years. Like I'm talking about like less than a year. It's way the story makes me feel like it's gonna happen. So do
Right.
y'all have the same feeling?
I mean, I feel like even if they are setting it up for that, like Hollywood was saying, it's not something that they're going to be able to pull off.
Yeah.
So even if it does, right, all it's doing is it's going to set them up for a failure, which might
Right.
even propel the story further, even faster, right?
I
And
agree.
maybe that might be the big plan overall. But I do agree though, right? We can't just do a time skip and be like, oh, yep, here we are now. I think we
I,
do need to see a little bit more of like a couple time skips, honestly, and then just see
right.
how things
Hmm.
play out over a few seasons and stuff like that.
Right.
I'm
I
sure
think
that
that
there's a
what they're
lot of
doing is
events.
I agree with you, Nam, 100%. I think they're planting the seeds right now. The seeds of rebellion are being planted.
Okay. Yeah, I was just curious what y'all was thinking because it definitely seems like they're gearing up for heavy action right now. So,
Yeah.
um,
You- If I had to put it like a way to describe it, like a little bit of analogy, I think that they're just kind of spreading like, a bunch of fireworks in different areas, right? And then eventually they're going to come and light them all at the same time and have a spectacle rather, as opposed to a few scattered ones here and there. But I do agree with what you said. Now, I'm not sure which one of you guys said it, but I think that they might do something that they will fail. Like they're gonna go on a dangerous mission or something like that. And that's gonna be their first big failure. And that's when like the main character Tokiyuki is gonna have like a little a growth arc. And then they might do a little time skip, and that's when Sue was going to console the kids and tell them, "Look, you're always going to fail. This is war, and you're going to lose battles, but you got to keep the war in mind." And I think that's probably what's going to end up happening as well.
I want to see that pep talk by Sua
It's going to be awesome.
because it's not gonna be like that. It's gonna be more unhinged.
There's going to be lights everywhere.
I think I think that it would fit the narrative perfectly if it was a serious conversation. If it wasn't like his typical, over the top, I'm going to cheer you up. It would really drive the magnitude of the situation home in a real significant way if he had like a man to man, father to son almost conversation with him. Because Tokiyuki's situation, he doesn't have family right now. It's a little bit of a spoiler right there, but he doesn't have a family, so this is his family, his found family. And Sua's gonna really step into the role of being his mentor, role model, father figure, and say, "Look, you're gonna fail, but you gotta stand up and continue the fight." And that'll be great to see if it was a serious conversation, especially with Gojo's voice actor.
Yeah. Um, I don't know if y'all have ever seen it or not, but this show like has been like it's not like too similar to it, but it's been giving me Yona of the Dawn vibes, right? Have y'all ever seen that? I'm
I've
assuming
never
not.
seen it. It's
Okay.
on my watch list though.
Okay. Well, it's this gives me like Yona the Dawn vibes. I'm sure like a lot of people out there have seen it. So just let me know if y'all feel the same way because I really do feel like that. It's just like it's kind of similar. It's just less romance, right? And like
Right.
seems like it's more lighthearted at times, especially like with Suwa, right? I think Yona Dawn's kind of like a little bit on the darker side, or stuff like that. So I don't know.
Well, this show, Tyler, has some dark elements too.
It does
Like
have dark
episode
moments,
one, there
but
was like,
yeah, heads
I'm,
rolling.
yeah, like I was deceived when I watched episode one because like here I am thinking I'm gonna watch a cool little samurai slice of life, and then all of a sudden the rug just gets yanked from underneath me. There's like, transitions like I was talking about earlier. They transition to like heads rolling, and I'm like, wait a minute, what is going on? And I was confused as shit when it happened. And then when, the end of the episode one happened, I was like, what did I just watch? And then that's what really was like, man, this one's gonna be a banger. That's how I knew that this show was gonna be a banger from episode one, just because it went from and it switches effortlessly from happy go lucky to really, really dark. Like really dark.
Yeah, it does it actually.
On the
It
fly.
does a really good job of like balancing that, and that's what I'm saying. Like Yona the Dawn really doesn't do that. Yona the Dawn is more like a drama, romance slash like adventure. Like I'm gonna get back my what was stolen from me too, because it's like the same the same premise, kind of like she they had the same thing happen, kind of, is where the people got killed and they got overthrown or whatever, and she had to run off and build and try to get it back. So it's just a shojo instead. So but it's like a really like y'all anybody that's never watched Yona the Dawn definitely should watch it, even though they haven't finished it. So like it's the anime, they just stopped doing it, so which is stupid. So anyways, but yeah, I guess this is probably gonna be like around an 8 for me. Probably it could go into a 9. It just depends on like how they actually go in the last half. Like, what do they do? Like, do they keep on giving us entertainment? Like, does it keep us interested, or do they hit a lull? Like Nam said. We'll see. Like, but I don't think this drops below an 8 for me. Like, I'm just enjoying it so much with the voice actors and the animation and like the characters. So
Yeah, go ahead, Hexx. What do you think?
For me, honestly, this show's a 9 as of right now. If the season ended right now with episode 6, it would stand at a 9 for me, because I love, again, at the risk of repeating myself, like, it checks so many boxes as far as I'm concerned, with the pacing, the story, the art, the animation, the music, the OP and the ED are so fun.
yeah,
I genuinely love this show. And it could go into 10 territory depending on how it plays out. Like, if they don't rush the end game of the series, this is definitely treading into 10 territory for sure, easily. What about you, Nam? What you got?
I'm giving it a 9 right now. It's a solid 9. It's a great story.
Solid 9.
Really, really fun. And like I said, interesting concept, right? Almost always able to keep you on your toes at any given moment by throwing any little bit of obstacle in there. So I don't think it's going to go into 10 territory for me. It's a solid 9 though, and I think it's going to stay at a solid 9 myself. But it all depends too. Like, again, if that lull does hit, it'll hit really, really hard, because there's no way that it'll be able to go. And I mean, there's so many different things that they could do, right? Like, if the main character can't even escape, they could still have a great episode. But if they don't know how to capitalize on it, yeah, it could drop below a 9. But as of right now, it's looking like it's probably going to end with a 9 as well.
Yeah. And it kind of worries me that the manga is like a 6.5 on Mal. It's a little bit on the lower side. So, but it's like a 3-year-old manga. So, but I don't really look too far into that as much. But it is there. So,
it could be how it, maybe how it ends and stuff like that. They're not happy with.
Yeah.
Is it finished?
No,
Is
it's
the manga
not
finished?
No, it's still going. So.
Yeah, no, I think they're doing a great job of continually raising the stakes, and I think it'll be in good shape. I think it'll do well.
Yeah, the last episode was like really good. So we actually had like people getting hurt and stuff. So I love that we actually can see that happening. I don't like it when people just don't get hurt. So I want to see blood, in a dark, gritty anime. So,
Right.
But if that's all we got for the Elusive Samurai, we'll let Nam get us into our next show, number 2.
Shika.
Dear.
So yeah, no, my dear friend Nokotan. This show is absolutely stupid in the best way possible, though. Like, it is an absolute riot. They fourth wall break harder than Deadpool does. They do so many different jokes about like the actual manga. They actually include deer, which is fantastic, because it's the whole premise of the show. You recommended, or you told me to watch it, Tyler, and honestly, at first I was like, what the hell are you having me fucking watch here? And I remember, right? I distinctly remember this. I was playing a game, and as it came up to the point, right? Spoiler warning if you haven't watched the first episode. It was when she was walking down the street and then you see the body in like the pole, right? And she started fourth wall breaking there. I literally stopped playing my game and watched the entire episode. It
Yeah,
was that distracting.
yeah, and I don't know how you was able to watch the try to watch it while playing a game, you know, because like with this show, you kind of like have to pay attention or you're gonna miss like 5 jokes, right?
Yeah, yeah, and then that's why I said like I stopped playing my game to watch the show, and it's crazy because almost every single week it draws that much attention from me. I don't know about you guys, right? But like there are a lot of animes that I can just put on in the background, look over, watch, keep up with. But this show it really draws you in, and that's what I think is honestly one of its best qualities too for being a brain rot anime at that.
Yeah. I will say like I love the subbed voice acting a lot. Like I really love it. Like I love that more than the dubbed. But I think that the dubbed makes it a better show because you know the sub you have to like read the subtitles and try to pay attention to everything that's going on the screen, right? Well, the dub you don't have to do that. Like it's like you can like soak in everything that they want you to see while listening to what they want you to hear. And I feel like that makes this show so much better. Even though the sub voice actors are way better, it's just the dubbed just makes this brain rot anime just feel so much better. So it just makes it so much more funnier because you don't have to pay attention to the subtitles and miss what's going on the screen because everything like the whole thing is part of the joke. It's not just like the dialogue, it's the whole thing that's happening.
Yeah,
So
like
I'm really glad that the Amazon Prime is like simul dubbing it too. So I'm really happy about that.
that is awesome. But yeah, no, just even following up too with like all the subtle things. Like there's a lot of different animation styles that they throw in there too with all the different faces and stuff like that. I mean, I'm sure you've noticed quite a lot of them too, Hex.
Yeah, I like the show a lot. Like it is hilarious to me because I know what I was getting into. Like I remember in the Anime Degens Discord, we were talking about it leading up to the launch of this show. About we were so excited. Tyler and myself were some of the few people that were always talking about it every chance we got. And do you remember the first thing that I said about the show to you, Tyler? What did I say? I said something along the lines of, "This show is pure chaos, and I can't wait." And
Yeah.
it has not disappointed me since because it's stupid. Like you said, you got to know what you're getting yourself into, and this is exactly what I signed up for. Like I wanted to laugh, but the thing I agree with you. I haven't watched it in dub yet, Tyler, but I will say this: when it comes to Western comedy and Japanese comedy, context is everything. So it is one of those shows that you have to be diverting your attention. You know, you can't divert your attention elsewhere.
Away.
Otherwise, you're going to miss like so much. But because it's something that I actively want to watch, that I look forward to watching every week, I have a great time watching it. And I love what they're doing. I love the voice actors. I love the jokes. Nokotan, she's precious, man. Like I love these precious little dummies that just make me laugh. Like his, I'm still trying to figure out if she's actually a little girl pretending to be a deer, or if she's actually a deer, you know, that
She's a
somehow
deer
turned into a little girl.
girl.
But yeah, like, but what
She's a
is she
deer
for real?
girl.
Like, you know what I mean?
Well, maybe I can answer that question for you. The show actually tells us that this is just
She
a
beautiful.
gag comedy and don't look that deep into it. That's what they say.
They said that for real? They actually
They
said
do,
that?
yeah.
Yeah, the
No,
last
they say-
not this episode, but the last episode. They was like, yeah, it was actually about the fur shedding thing, right? It was like
Right.
it actually occurs between April and May, but this is just a dumb gag anime comedy.
Right,
So
yeah.
don't look too deep into it.
Yeah. No, and I think that's one of the things that I love most about the show too, that it's like very self-aware in the fact that it's like it's telling you, look, we know that this is a brain rot comedy.
We know
We
this is
know
stupid.
because this is our intention. Like this is what we wanted was to make it a dumb brain rot comedy.
Dear Rod, I
Have
like
fun
that.
and laugh. Yeah, dear rot, exactly.
But
yeah.
yeah, no, with the meta jokes and everything, honestly, like this show has not disappointed since episode 1. I mean, even this last episode where we got 18 little mini episodes, even like 16 of those were really, really funny.
Yeah, even
Right.
though
2
it
of
was
those
like
are
10
just kind of
seconds
creepy.
long, you know, it was 10 seconds long and they still made us laugh, you know.
Yeah,
Made me laugh for
gaming
sure.
antler.
Yeah.
The gaming antler. It was
They had
easily
like
the
a little
best.
they had a little home shopping network segment that they
Yeah.
were like selling like antler plushies and like
The next
was
episode was
great.
literally somebody who bought it and was showing it off.
one of the girls, like one of the little girls at the from
Yes.
the student council bought the antler, the plushie.
Oh, yeah.
It was
It's just
so great.
fun. So
I love how like it's actually like a little deer cult and they're like
Yeah.
actively seeking people to join this little deer cult.
Yeah,
love it.
yeah.
especially
Um,
Bashame, she's just trying to be the best deer she can be.
but
Bashame
don't forget,
stronger.
I was gonna say Bashame stronger.
This wind is really strong. Bashame stronger.
It's like,
What does
who
that
are you
even mean?
competing with? No, so as far as ratings go, this is the show that's gonna take the 10 for me right now.
Oh, really?
Really?
Okay.
Wow.
It's so goddamn funny. Like, I am showing people at work. I will talk to people at work about anime. I am literally like, watch this. Like watch, shoving it in their face, and it's just like they're reacting, yes, but I'm reacting more than they're reacting, and I don't do that except for One Piece, and the one person that I did that with, he's no longer there, so I don't even get to do that anymore. But at the same time, here nor there, Nokotan though is a 10 for me. I
Okay.
don't think that's going to change at all.
Yeah, I guess for me, this is probably gonna be like around a 7 or an 8. It's probably gonna be an 8. I mean, it could go up if like they just turn up the comedy a lot, and make it a lot more funnier. But like so far, like every episode's been like around a 7 on like the humor scale, right? Because me and Nom, like, we rated each week or whatever how funny it was, and like every episode's been at least a 7. Like we've laughed quite a bit. Like last one was my favorite one yet because I want them to do more of the weird funny skits or whatever. Even if it's only 15 seconds long, I want to see more coffee machine Nokotan, right? So I want to see more of that, and I just want to see
Okay.
the crazy shit. What I don't want to see, I don't want to see the siscon shit. I don't want to see the armpit shit. Like I don't want to see none of that. You know, and this show is doing a good job at like
Not highlighting it.
yeah, not being like overboard with it. Like they're not like throwing it in our face every single episode multiple times. Like it's just like, oh, by the way, we're gonna talk about it for like 30 seconds here, just to remind y'all that Anko is still a weirdo, you know? So
Right.
but yeah, I think it's gonna be like a 7 or 8. I'm really enjoying the dubbed. Like I watch both of them weekly, and I enjoy the dubbed more. So
I do want to clarify that for mine, it's not. I know that you base yours just off of the comedy. I'm basing mine off of more than just the comedy as well, though, because like even the dramatic scenes when the shedding and Nokotan was leaving and Koshitan was like, Chikanoka, and slammed her arms down and she was like crying and stuff like that. Like even those moments really hit hard. So that's also like it's not just the brain rot. There is a lot of emotion that they can put into these scenes, and they do a really good job of really bringing that out. Not only with voice acting but animation. That's why I gave it a 10 as well.
Okay.
What about you, Hexx?
For me, currently, my dear friend Nokotan is going to be an 8, and I think it's 8 is a good ceiling for it, purely off of the comedy alone. Because again, I enjoy watching this show. I think it's hilarious. The animation is great. I feel like I'm watching like an old school Warner Brothers Bugs Bunny cartoon every week because like they're doing like these transitions to like one of my favorite episodes. I can't remember which episode it was off the top of my head, but like they showed her like running from like this tactical group that was, I guess, trying to take her back to the zoo or whatever. And like she was running through a jungle like Rambo. I love that. Like I popped so hard when I saw that. And if they keep doing things like that, like, you know, that just remind me of the good old days of something that's familiar, that's what I love the most. You know, when you can invoke that in nostalgia in me. And based on the comedy alone, it gets an 8 from me. But like you said, Nam, that's not the only reason that it gets an 8. I think the animation is really good, and I love the voice actors; they're great, and primarily female cast. Like I said, you know, that's one of my favorite things. I love primarily female casts, and it's just a good show. It's funny. Go watch it. You know, there's not much else to say. It's a brain rot comedy. Go watch it. If you want to laugh, having a bad day, you're sad, go watch it. Nokotan will lift your spirits up.
Yeah, and I feel like this wouldn't be as funny if the animation wasn't as good, but the animation is really good and the art style is really good at times too. You know, with like the meme faces and shit, like it wouldn't be nowhere near as funny, right? Like
No.
it
Right.
it hits because of that reason. So I don't know who the studio is, but whoever they pick, like they done a wonderful job picking them. So, um, but yeah, I
What
guess that's
studio?
oh, it's Wit.
It
Yeah,
is Wit.
okay.
Yep.
Wit.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So
Bravo, Wit.
yeah.
Bravo. Thank you for at least finishing it in time too to put it out every week.
I'm
Unlike
like math,
someone
bro.
else. I wasn't gonna name them. They know who they are.
I am waiting for a John, like it's John Cena in Nokotan. I want to see that sometime or another. But
It's John Nokotan, and it's
We
just
got to
gonna
exactly.
be
be
nice to Wit,
Nokotan.
guys. We got to be nice to Wit. We can't say mean things to them because they're
They're
working
giving
on
us One
the One
Piece.
Piece
Yeah.
right now.
Oh
So
Yeah.
no, don't worry. Like I said, Wit, you're doing a fantastic job. Seriously, you're doing a fantastic job. The stab, it had nothing to do with you. You just happened to be, unfortunately, the ammunition.
So I guess with all that being said, let's move on to our third show. And I guess Hex is gonna take us away with that one.
yes, yes, yes. Now, ladies and gentlemen, fellow anime lovers, this is the time that I get to talk about my favorite summer show of the summer 2024 season, and that is Wistoria Sword and Wand. I love this show. I talk about it in the Anime Degens Discord every week. I review the episode almost every week. This show has been 94 pure octane every single week with every single episode. I hope it maintains that pace. This is the show that I wait for Sunday to see because I love this show so much. The animation, the art style is crisp. Every episode, especially the fight scenes, they're animated beautifully. Like I'm watching a movie. This show's a banger. This show, if I wasn't so stingy with my rating scale, which I hopefully Tyler have the chance to pull that up. I have a very strict rating scale that I go by. This show spiritually for me is a 10. The only reason that I don't give it a 10 is because I want more and it keeps me on the edge of my seat. I know that's a dumb reason for not giving it a 10, but I want more. Right now I have it at a 9, but this show deserves to be a 10, especially if they keep it going the way that it is, very fast paced. The characters, very relatable, typical zero to hero story. It follows our main character and hero, Will Surfort. Uh, Essentially, he lives in a world where magic is absolute, right? Magic is the only source of strength that is respected in this world. And he's going to a Hogwarts type of school where, a magic academy where other students are aiming to become magia vendors, which are essentially the most powerful and gifted wizards that live at the top of at this tower. And as per the show, the wizards at the top of the tower, the magia vendors, they keep the sky from falling down. I don't know if that's metaphorical or anything like that, but I'm taking it at face value.
Yeah, I want to know more about that in
Right.
particular because like they've told us a few things right about it, and they always say like they're holding the sky up, blah blah blah. But
Holding
like,
the sky up.
are they really? Like, what's going on with that? Like, why are you just leaving us in the dark with that piece of information?
Also,
I-
why doesn't a single one of them have their wand pointed at the sky ever when we see them then, huh? Where's
Yeah,
the
they're
magic
chilling.
keeping it in the sky?
Yeah, they're chilling, bro. Like, what are they doing? The sky could collapse at any time.
Bakers.
I'm sure it's metaphorical, but I do hope that that's one of the things that does get answered as the course of the season goes, because we're getting to that point that a lot of interesting things are happening. As of last week's episode, they're doing kind of like a little Hunger style games. Actually, you know what? The perfect way to describe it, last week's episode, they kind of did. I said it in the Discord. They're doing kind of like a tuning exams type of thing, a little callback to Naruto. And Will's squad is actually Squad 6. I know Naruto's was Team 7, but they're actually Squad 6, and it's kind of like a little Hunger Games tuning exam type of thing where they have to go to the middle of the stadium and get this crown. That's the most recent episode. But man, banger after banger.
It really
And
is.
I love this show, guys. I cannot. I'm telling everybody that I get a chance to watch this show. Yesterday, I made my brother watch the first 2 episodes. I'm at his house right now.
Yeah.
Doing this recording. I made him before we started recording. I made him watch episodes with me, and he's like, "Oh man, this is a banger." I'm like, "I told you, you didn't watch it by yourself. It took me to come here and sit down and put it on TV for you to watch it." And he said that he likes it.
And like this wasn't really like too far on my radar, right? When I was looking at shows for the summer. But like the animation, like I think it's isn't it like A1 production? Or no, I don't
I
think
have to
that's
double
right.
check.
It's
It's
Studio
some-
Actus and Bandai Namco Pictures.
Yeah.
The
So
two
it's-
of them are making it.
Don't they do like panty stalking or something? I don't know. Yeah, like they don't do like I haven't watched many shows of theirs, but anyways, like they're like this is one of the best animated anime of the summer, and like this show literally needs it because they're going like crazy on the fight scenes at all times, and I love that.
I love that.
I also love that they're kind of like throwing in some I think they're throwing in some like Harry Potter references, like Sensei Edward. He's definitely like Snape. That's Snape.
He's Snape,
bro.
100%.
That's Professor Snape. They literally called him Sly. They called him Sinister. They called him a snake. They called him the most hated sensei. Like how much like he looks like Snape. Like it's literally Snape. So I thought they was playing Quidditch in the last episode too, but it was actually like just cameras. Like
They were doing a
that's another
race.
thing I love about this anime too is that the world building, like they use magic for so many cool things, and they show it to us. Like the mics, they're using the mics to talk in as microphones, and like that's so cool. That's so cool to see. So
That's actually a specialization magic, because during the transition screen, I paused it to read the character bio, and the kid that's the master of ceremonies at the stadium, he specializes in voice amplification magic, so he could probably use it as a weapon as well, because all the wizards, like they essentially specialize in a so far we've seen elemental form of magic for combat, but you never know, man. Like maybe this kid could scream into that mic and create like shockwaves or something like that. Like, we don't know. There's still a lot of story to be told about this show. And I love how, like, again, like you said, like, this show, it has a lot of callbacks. You could tell that, Harry Potter was definitely like a big inspiration for it, at least as far as I'm concerned. But the fact that all the kids have like a specialization magic, like, and it's based on an element. Like, our main antagonist is Shion, the fire wizard kid, the kid with the red hair. 100% Draco Malfoy, by the way. But he's a total jerk. But it's just so good, man. Like, I'm gonna keep saying that during this segment. It's so good. I cannot wait for more.
One thing I want to mention though is the dude with the sound magic or whatever. His name is Michael Myers, basically. I was laughing at that. But yeah, I don't know. I really enjoy it. I also enjoy that, like, they, even though Will can't use magic, we see that people can support him and he can, like, use their support magic, whether it be like boost or like the gauntlets or whatever, and he can use those to actually like damage magical beings and such, like, that he couldn't normally damage. And I feel like that's really cool that they're doing that, because that means we're actually gonna see like him be able to do crazy shit with the help of friends, which is
Right.
what this show is trying to show us, is that friends, are helping him or whatever.
That's the magic that you need, the magic of friendship, baby.
One thing that I am scared of though is that he's got a crush on Elfie or whatever the hell her name is, Elfaria, which is like the top wizard or whatever. And like, I was looking up her name, and like, her last name is literally his last name. So what do we got going on there? Like, like, what's his last name? But that's literally her last name too. So like, what's going on there? Why are we doing this? Are they family? Like,
I think Will again, and the reason I know this is because I paused the screen during the transitions, during the cutaways.
Yeah.
And I saw his race. It's actually in episode 1. I paused it during his transition, and it was a bio on him. And his race is like a race of people that starts with an R. Will might have been adopted by the girl's family, which also explains why he can't use magic. Again, that's just speculation if I had to use my best guess. But being as that they're childhood friends and they know each other from being kids, he was probably adopted because he's more than likely like some type of orphan, and probably not from that world. Because if you remember in episode 5, the dwarves, actually their world got destroyed, and that's why they're in this world with these kids. And that's why, like, they're like looked down upon, and all the other people like think that they're better than them because dwarves can't use magic. They're just like Will, that they're like, brawny, stocky people that rely on their physical power as opposed to their magical power. So if I had to guess, that there's a mystery behind Will more than why he can't use magic. But also, if I could just touch on this real quick, Will's roommate at the academy, Rosti, he actually makes magic items. So Rosti, and again, this is just headcanon and me trying to play, super Batman detective, trying to be a detective based on conjecture like Mau Mau, our girl Mau Mau.
Just don't act on it.
Rosti could probably be making up a magical device to try to help Will. He gave him a magical item before that he took in a dungeon and took down a huge monster, where he actually encountered the girl Iris, the blonde girl that's actually the spy. Iris is not her real name, by the way. She's a spy from the Magia vendors from the tower. And I guess they're trying to recruit, like, if I'm not mistaken, they're trying to recruit magicians that have low potential, which I guess they see Will is having low potential, but he's really a beast. But yeah, and also too, last thing, I want to hear your thoughts, Nam. I think that Will might and I'm just hoping. I think that he might learn how to use magic a little bit, like not maybe not offensively to the capacity of like the other characters, but at least like a defensive type of magic where he could like buff himself or like buff his sword. Also, as far as I know, he's the only character that has a familiar. Kiki, the feline type familiar, she's adorable by the way. I want one. Kiki, Kiki might turn into like a big magical monster or something like that. That's what I'm guessing.
So for me, I think that either Kiki will turn into some sort of like a support character that would actually be
Hmm.
able to do the magic that would help him out, right? He
Right.
himself won't have it, but maybe through that he'd be able to, right? And then as well too, I do feel as though that he's not going to learn magic at all, right?
Okay.
That's just my feeling. I like the idea of a character not having magic, right? Like that's what I liked about Black Clover and Mashal, right? And like when somebody told me that this is basically Black Clover and Mashal, I was like, okay, I'll give it a watch. And realistically, the only connection that those two have to this show is that
He doesn't
main
use
character
magic.
just can't use magic. Yeah.
That's
And
it.
he's strong
But
as hell.
I would say it's a lot closer to Black Clover in that sense, right? And well, Black Clover, he's got a grimoire, right? He's got a demon, who can use anti magic. I like the idea of Will being somebody that is able to use these magical items and bring out their full power. But him
Mm.
himself not being able to use magic and still proving everyone wrong, because that has been the big thing, right? Like he's
Yeah.
going to become Mega Vander. That's his goal. That's the only thing that he can think about, right? And there is a way for him to do so, at least as far as he's been led to believe. It's just that he can't get there using magic. So he's
Right.
determined, right? And I really like that struggle, and I think that that's gonna really help this show out a lot, just because it's got a really good premise, it's got a good setup and stuff like that, and it's great animation, right? Like Bandai Namco,
Beautiful.
they're huge studio, and they've got their gaming division that can also back them too. So they've got money to throw into the development, and by all means, like lean more into it and stuff like that. You're doing a fantastic job so far. But I do hope that he doesn't learn magic, because I feel like that's going to take away from his character.
I agree. It would take away from his character, and you are raising very valid points now. Just because I'd like to see it happen doesn't mean that it will. Realistically speaking, I think you're right. I think that he's not going to learn how to use magic, but if it does happen, that would be very, very cool. Especially
It
like
would, it would be.
like again, I'm being realistic also too in my hope for it, because like I'm not saying that he's going to learn how to use magic again to the capacity of his counterparts, of his classmates.
Yeah,
Even
yeah.
if it's just like to buff himself, kind of like wrong way to use healing magic. Like
Yep.
he buffs himself to make himself stronger. That would be incredible, because he's already a beast. Like every fight that he has is nuts. You know what I mean?
hmm
Next week's episode is going to be a banger, by the way.
Imagine him just sitting there healing the monster as he's
Right.
also just hacking and slashing at it.
Right. This
Real
show
quick,
is
complete sidetrack moment, but like that one scene in Wrong Way to Use Healing Magic where he's just like healing the dude as he's just punching him, and he's
yeah.
like, "What? Why am I not passing out yet? But I'm feeling all this pain."
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
By the
Oh, it
by
was
the
so
way,
good.
folks, I'm gonna add to what Nam just said. If you have not joined us already in the Anime Degens Discord, the Wrong Way to Use Healing Magic was actually one of our first look shows that we watched. We watched 3 episodes of that probably about a month and a half ago. So if that's something that you're interested in doing, come chat to us in the Anime Degens podcast Discord and
Link,
join us. Just had to
yep.
throw that in there real quick.
Linktree.com/anime degens.
That's right. But I want to get wrapped up here. I want to see if Tyler has any like final opinions on Wistoria and stuff like that. I know I gave you guys already my rating. I'm gonna reiterate that again. But just everything about the show, like the story, like I think that there's still story that they have to touch on, because again, the whole thing with Kiki, and this is going to be a little spoiler, well, very spoiler right here. Kiki was given to Will by Professor Werkner, which is the professor with the glasses that loves Will, that like cares for him, right? And you can tell that
Redhead?
Will really no, that's Professor Edward. Professor Werkner has white hair, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay. I thought you were talking
Profe-
about like Colette, the redhead that likes Will. So
Oh, Colette, she's a
Yeah.
blondie. She's a little cute little blondie. And I mean that like in a adorable sense, not in a physically attracting, because they're children, obviously, but she's a cute little blondie. I want to make sure I'm clear on that. You never know. But yeah, no, Professor Werkner, and also too, I think Professor Werkner is the real deal, man. Like I don't know why, but I think that, and again, these are two things that I'm going to wrap this up because I know I'm yapping now. Professor Werkner gave Kiki to Will, and he can actually see what Will's doing with the jewel in Kiki's forehead. So he's keeping tabs on Will. I think that Kiki, he gave her to Will as a break in case of emergency type of thing. So like if Will finds himself in a situation that's like really sticky, like Kiki will just like kind of transform or something. That's what I'm hoping. But I'm also guessing that Professor Werkner is the real deal. Like he's a strong, bad dude, man. Like I think because it's normally the senseis that are really sweet and kind that are like the badasses.
have they? I don't know if this is just in my head or not, but have they said that if he can like teleport to him or teleport Will out via Kiki? I feel like they've said something about that. So
I'm not sure, Tyler, because like that little tidbit that I found out about Kiki was again during the transition screens, like the intermission screen or whatever. I paused it to read those.
Yeah, I mean they're actually information that is useful, unlike most like anime that do it. Like there's actually useful information on these screens. I've come to find out. So, but yeah.
What are your ratings, guys? Real quick, like if you don't mind me asking, what do you got, Tyler?
So I guess I'll go first and say that this is probably going to be like a higher 8, maybe a 9. I don't know. It depends on. I guess it depends on. I get how they advance him, right? Because we know he's going to advance. Like I want him to work for it, right? Like I want him to work really hard for it. I don't want it to be given to him, because like that would go against what this world is. I want this to be a more serious show. Kind of like Black Clover. Like Asta, he works his ass off for what he has done, even though he kind of got cheesed a little bit with the grimoire, right? Like that's a superpower for grimoire for his world, but I hope that Will doesn't get something like that over here. I hope that Will like is able to maximize his potential by just being himself and using what he has or available to him. So but this could be a 9 too, because this is probably my favorite action of the season. Probably Elusive Samurai was, but I think this has passed it up. So I'm really enjoying this one a lot more. So
Okay.
What about you, Dom?
I'm gonna say that Yami doesn't care what grimoire Asta has. He's gonna make him work his ass off regardless.
Exactly.
All right.
Asta still does, but
exactly. No, I'm gonna go ahead. This one's gonna be kind of maybe a bit of a shock, but this one's also gonna be a 10 for me.
Okay. Which I mean, you really like these, so
it's not even so much as that. It's just the way how this one is done is perfectly executed. It's got the right amount of comedy, right? Or not comedy. Sorry, it doesn't doesn't have much comedy in it, but like where it does, it's still you can tell, but it's got really really good action, like really good action. It's
Animated beautifully too, man.
I was gonna say, yeah, beautifully animated, perfectly choreographed. I mentioned it earlier, but Bandai Namco Pictures, they're doing a lot, right? They've got their whole anime division. They've got they got their video game division also backing them as far as the funding goes, because it's all Bandai Namco. So they've got the ability, and they are really showing it with this. The other studio too, they're doing a pretty good job as well. Studio Octus. I'm not too familiar with a lot of their work, but whoever's doing it's still fantastically animated, just amazing setting and stuff like that, right? Decent world building too. I mean, they've set up things very, very well. They've put in lore and stuff like that. So they've given us a lot to work with. So I'm very, very excited for this one. I'm curious to see how it continues on. But I'm very keen on this one as well. This and Nokotan are really stealing the show for me this season. Only this season though, because again, you can't top Goat Piece. I'm sorry, but you can't.
Nom always has to fit the advertisement for One Piece in somewhere.
Well, no, I mean Nom. He's not lying, because 2 weeks ago we watched episode 11-14. You and I, Tyler, in the Discord. I was lost because I stopped watching at episode 1090 because I started a rewatch.
Yep.
But they're cooking. They're cooking in One Piece right now, man.
Oh man,
with hot grease.
You don't even understand either, dude. Like what we're about.
No spoilers. No spoilers. No spoilers.
No spoilers, but man, what we're about to get, chat, y'all ain't ready, right? Like we're
ready,
about
man.
to be eaten. We're about to be
ready.
eaten
I'm ready.
real good.
Well, yeah. So I guess did you already say your ratings, Hollywood?
I gave my rating a little bit prematurely, but I'm going to say it one last time. For me, this show currently, right now, if the season ended, 9. Easy. But this show ceiling is definitely a 10. Spiritually, it's a 10 for me. The only 10 this season so far. Because it is 94 octane, man. Gas.
Hell yeah. Okay. Well, if that's all we got, I think it is. I guess we're done. We're basically done with all the shows that Nom has watched. So we're gonna let him say his goodbyes and stuff. Basically, we're gonna kick him off. You know, all that good stuff. To say it.
So hard, guys. I wanted to stay with you, but they're making me leave. No, I got some other things that I got to do and take care of. So I'm gonna leave it to these guys here. They're good at bullshitting, anyways. I'm leaving you guys in good hands.
Yeah, and so like basically, you know, after Nom leaves here in a second, me and Hexx will continue with the rest of the shows that we've watched, which is I think 8 more shows, I believe. And so stay tuned for that. You know, it'll be just a second. I mean, y'all won't really see it, the transition and stuff. So, but yeah,
just hang out, chat. You'll see it. In the meantime, though, don't forget, guys. You can come hang out in the Discord with us. We do watch parties every Sunday. We do the newest episode of One Piece, followed by whatever show that you guys can actually vote on, also in the Discord. And then you can also come and chat with us about the latest episodes too. That's linktree.com/anime Degens.
And we
I hope
also
to see you guys there.
Yeah, and we also got a fancy link now since we are like level 3. You can actually go discord.gg/animedegens now and take you straight to Discord. So
hey,
okay,
so,
boost.
Shout out,
but yeah,
boost.
Come on out, come hang out with us, guys. In the meantime, like I said, I'm gonna leave you with these guys. Everyone have a good night. Tyler, it was good seeing you. I will see you.
Have a good night, brother. See you in the Discord,
Tuesday.
brother.
Absolutely, Hollywood. I will see you probably this Sunday.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
Later, guys.
All right, y'all. It's just me and Hexx now. We've watched a lot of different shows this season, but we're not going to be talking about all of them. We'd be here basically all day. But first up, we're going to talk about the rest of our must watches, our favorites of the summer season. And I guess I'll go ahead and start with my first one. Um, and like I said, there will be spoilers, maybe, possibly. I'm not promising there will be spoilers, but there's potentially spoilers. So make sure you use those timestamps to skip ahead to whatever show you've watched, or whatever show you're interested in. So, but the first show that we are going to be talking about is one of my must watches. It's probably one of Hexx's must watches too. It's Ramen Akaneko, Red Cat Ramen, and we've watched up to episode 6 so far.
That's right.
Yeah. And so basically, I'm going to get into my thoughts real quick on it. It's basically just a simple anime about a ramen shop run by cats. Like, it's one of my favorite shows of the summer, right? Like, even though it's simple, it's like a simple show, it's not bad though. Like, sometimes simple shows are good, you know. The CGI though, it's a pretty CGI heavy show. I think there's a little bit like art in it, I guess you could say, but most of it's CGI, and most of it's actually pretty good. Like, there's a few times that I noticed that the CGI isn't the best, and I think most of it revolves around Krishna. What do you think?
I think that the show, the art, it is animated 100%, and you can see that it is animated. But for a show that's very simply made, like, it doesn't have like any action sequences or anything like that. It benefits from CGI use because it cuts down on the production, I imagine, on the show. Krishna does have a lot of CGI, but I feel personally like it's less than what we realize. Like, there's a lot that's actually animated, especially during the segments where, the girl, and also this is the main point of the show, is that this girl does odd jobs for this ramen noodle shop. And one of her responsibilities in the ramen noodle shop is that she brushes all the cats. And when she's brushing Krishna, you can see that that is animated. It's not CGI. So
Yeah.
I do agree that it is CGI heavy, but it's not bad. You know what I mean? It's justified in a show like this because it is a simple show, and it's a show about kitty cats. Like, it's what is there not to love? If you're an animal lover, specifically a cat lover, this show is going to be perfect for you. If you're a foodie, you're going to like it too because the food looks incredible too.
Yeah, I mean, who doesn't like Nekos, right?
Right.
And I'm not saying like it's bad. It's just like Krishna, there's some scenes that like look weird, or she moves weird, I guess you can say. And I noticed it. But like I said, it doesn't take anything away from the show, because this is one of my favorites of the season. So like, I look forward to it every week. And one thing that I love about this show too is that they have like a lot of cool details that they show. Like, they do like the hair policy or whatever, right? And like they show like a lot of moments with that would pertain to cats too, which is pretty cool. Like when she's brushing the hair and stuff, and like they're playing with it, and like stuff like that that usually isn't like in this kind of stuff, but they put it in there. And I feel like it makes it a better show because of it, because that's what we want. We want to have fun and like smile and watch these cats like interact with each other, and all that stuff. So, and there's not a whole lot of drama in this.
I mean, no, I think it's a typical slice of life show, and I think that's where it excels, because it knows what it is. You see what I'm saying? Because the cats, yes, they're cats, and they do happen to work in a ramen noodle shop, but these cats surprisingly are multi-layered. Like, they have interests. They're really well fleshed out characters, and I think that's what I love the most about the show when it comes in terms of storytelling. I think that they all have it's very heavily centered directly in the ramen noodle shop. 100%. That goes without saying. But you see a portion of their lives, even though it's not too big, but you see a portion of their lives outside of the shop. Like there's a couple of episodes very early on, if I'm remembering correctly, that the girl goes. I'll get her name in a second. The young lady, she goes home.
Yashiro?
Yashiro. She goes home, and you see what her home like is like, especially very early on in the series. I want to say like episodes 1 and 2, and you see her go home and like she's using a computer and she talks about what she used to do before she started working at the ramen noodle shop, which was, you know, essentially a graphic design center, a marketing center, I suppose. That's my takeaway was. I apologize if I'm remembering that incorrectly, but essentially, and even the cats, when they're not at the shop, because the shop does close twice a day from a certain time of the day till I want to say maybe like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. For cat naps, exactly. But no, actually, ramen noodle shops are like that, if I'm not mistaken. Like they have like a lunch and then like a dinner. So that's cool too. That's a nice little element that they added. But the cats have interests. Like my favorite cat, Sabu, he's the black kitty cat. He's a gamer. So when they showed him gaming, I popped for that. I was like, oh man, and he's actually really good because like, you know, he's shooting like it's like a little first person shooter game that he's playing. And I was like, oh man, this cat's the best. He's obviously my favorite character since then because of that. But what do you think, Tyler? What do you like the most about the extracurriculars that the cats do? Because they all have things that they do. I think the only one that they haven't explored is Bunzo, aka Boss.
I think him and like I think he's pretty cool, like Bunzo. I thought it was pretty interesting that I think it's what Sasuke, ain't he the CEO or whatever? Is that correct?
Sasuke, they actually revealed him in the most recent episode as him being the owner of the ramen noodle shop. That's a heavy spoiler, folks. So
and
apologies for that.
It's kind of crazy because like me personally, like I always thought Bunzo was because you know he's the boss. Everybody refers to him as the boss. Now I'm not sure why that they tried to hide that, like keep that a secret. I guess like I don't see why it mattered, you know. But I guess they got to find just a little bit of drama occasionally, just like when with Sabu. There was a little bit of drama there because they thought he was gonna leave and become a pro, you know.
A pro gamer,
yeah. So it's really cool. Like you said, your favorite was Sabu. I think my favorite's like Hana. I really enjoy her character. Yeah, she's so cute. She's like, and the fact that she has like different personalities or like not different personalities, but like different ways of showing herself, depending on which side she's on or whatever. Like it's so cool, you know. Krishna's really cool too, but I really love Hana. Like Hana is just so cool. So
I love the cats for different reasons.
Yeah.
Hana, I like that she's a little tsundere kitty cat. Like she's kind of like, you know, a Sour Patch Kid. Like she's sweet and sour. Like she's has her moments where she's very nice, and then like there are other moments where she's like, you know, sassy and snippy. One thing that I love particularly about Hana is that she reminds me of the movie Waiting. You ever see that movie, Tyler?
No.
It's a movie Waiting. It's a comedy essentially, and if I recall correctly, Ryan Reynolds is in it and Justin Long, and they work at a restaurant. It's like a fake Applebee's. It's called Shenanigans or something like that, or Bennigan's or whatever. And they're very professional when they're there. Like Hana, when there's customers present, she's very, very professional. But when they're gone, like that's when she kind of lets loose and lets her little kitty tail down, and it shows more of her personality. So I do like that aspect. And then the other cats, I like them for different reasons. Even though Saab was my favorite, because he's more relatable to me, because I'm a gamer. Like who's not a gamer? You know what I mean? I immediately related to him, Sabu the black kitty cat. The reason Sasaki, I think they kept it a secret as him actually being the CEO, they actually alluded to, well, they explained it in the most recent episode, which was, let me look at my notes here, episode 6, they explained it, was Yoshiro the young girl, she says that she always saw Bunzo as a craftsman, more like a master of his craft, which he very is much so. And you see, even very early on in the few episodes that Sasaki, uh, he's like doing stuff at his computer. He looked like he was more on the, I guess I want to say the paperwork side. So then when they revealed that he was actually the CEO, to me, like I just kind of laughed it off because I saw it coming. The
Yeah.
reason Bunzo, I think they gave him they made us think that he was like, the owner was because he's no nonsense. He's very strict and like he's quick to be very tough and stern with customers when necessary, especially when it comes to like their no photography policy, which they have in the store.
Which I mean, they need to have that. You know what I
They
mean?
have to, yeah,
Yeah.
because then otherwise crazy cat people will be showing up all day, and that's the reason that they give in the show, which I think is brilliant.
Yeah. Um. Yeah. I mean, this is just a solid show
Slice of
overall.
life,
Like, it's a great slice of life. Like with cats and about ramen. Like making ramen. Like, what else
right?
do you literally need? With all that being said, I guess I will give, like, I think it's gonna hit around like the 8 range for me, honestly. Like, there's very little chance of it going to a 9, and there's very little chance of it falling down to a 7. I think an 8 is right where it needs to be for me. But I guess we'll see. You know, anything could happen, but that's where I'm looking at it right now. Like, I just really love it. So, do you have like
I
a
agree.
mid season?
If I had to give it a mid-season rating, I would definitely give it an 8 as well, and that's currently what it is for me on my analyst. The Mal score I don't agree with. It's 6.61 on Mal, and I
Yeah.
think that's a little. It makes it seem like it's worse than what it is, but the show is actually really great. And not to get off on a tangent, I want to name just a few more little things that I like that I feel like it deserves that 8. The fact that they went out and got very famous people for the voice cast in Japanese shows that they were trying to put together a cool slice of life show. Fun fact, Sasaki's voice actor is actually Sasuke's voice actor in Japanese.
Yeah.
So the legend himself, Sasuke's voice actor, my least favorite Naruto character, by the way, shots fired. He's actually the voice actor for Sasuke. The legend, the GOAT, Mr. Kenjiro Suda, is the voice actor for Bunzo, aka Boss, and the voice actor for Your Forger is actually the voice actress behind the lovely and wholesome Krishna. So
Yeah.
if you needed more reasons to watch this show, the stellar voice cast outside of Kitty's making ramen should be even more of an incentive for you to go and check this show out. But I agree with Tyler 100%. It is an 8 from me. Don't listen to Mal. It's an 8 from Hexx, and that's all that matters.
Yeah, I think like the Mao people, I think a lot of people have issues with like nothing happening, but like I'm fine with that because that's what this show is. Like it, even though nothing is happening, like it's still a good show. So,
Yeah, I
um,
agree.
but
And
I guess
like I said, the effort is there. You can see it in the voice cast. When you get like, these people, Kenjiro Suda, Saori Hayami, and Noriaki Sugiyama, these are incredible voice actors, legends that have been in the industry for a long time. So what else do you need from a show that kitty cats are making ramen? Just,
yeah,
it's there's
just
no
watch it.
need to be very, very stringent,
Yeah.
on the rating system for these shows, in my opinion.
Yeah, I feel like people should at least give it a chance. So, I mean, that's what
Right,
we're
of
here for.
course.
We're trying to tell people, you know, give it a chance. So, um,
It's a great show.
but I guess that's all we got for Red Cat Ramen. The next show we got, I'm gonna let Hex get us into that one since I think it is one of his must watches. So,
Hey, yes, it is. For me, this next show is going to be Bye Bye Earth. Now, for me, this show, to give you a brief little summary on it and the things that I liked about it, one of the things that I liked about it right off rip was that it reminded me of something that's very familiar to me. Essentially, Belle, it follows a young lady. She's a human girl named Belle LeBlack, which is trained by I guess, a master of combat techniques named Xian, right? And the way that the first episode happened, it reminded me of a video game called Horizon Zero Dawn. And in that game, if you're familiar with it, it's almost the same way. Like you have this outsider that doesn't belong with this group of people, that she's marginalized and they like ostracize her. She doesn't know where she's from. She has questions about her identity. And that's what this show starts off as. Essentially, you see Belle in the early episodes duel her master and go on to do other things. Like essentially, she goes to the capital and becomes a soloist, which she needs to do first, which is, I guess, an imperial soldier, a form of an imperial soldier. And then from there, she becomes a nomad so she can explore more of the world. Again, very, very reminiscent of Horizon Zero Dawn for me. The show, other than that basic premise, the show is kind of all over the place. I feel like this is one of those shows that you have to read the manga or be familiar with the manga to enjoy the show just that much more, because you kind of feel like a little bit left out. Like me personally, I have to be totally honest. Like I feel like I'm still missing a few key elements just because the pacing of it is more than moderately sped. Like, it's kind of fast paced.
Yeah, it is
right?
a lot. I do agree with that, which I haven't watched all 5 episodes that like you have, but so far, like after like 2 or 3, I forget what I'm on, it does seem like all over the place. So it is
It
a little
is.
bit harder to keep up with. So
It is harder to keep up with, but I love it. Like I love the animation. I'm intrigued by the story. And
yeah.
then just the character designs overall is what's really knocking it out of the park for me. Because you have this very normal girl and she's essentially surrounded by animal people, like anthropomorphic animals. And again, keeping in mind that it's very hard to follow, I think that it's so strange and so unique that it's almost compelling to watch. At least that's what it is for me. But so far, of all the episodes, I've enjoyed. And there's a couple of episodes that are a little slower than the others because they're doing a lot of world building and providing a lot of backstory to the overall world that Belle is in. But again, it's very, very intriguing, and I'm very hopeful and curious as to where it's going to end up going as the season unfolds.
Yeah, I think that I view it like a journey of self-discovery, right? Like that's what
Absolutely.
it seems like to me. Like I'm enjoying it, but like I'm not like it's not way up there for me yet. I feel like it has a lot of potential. Uh but I'm not as sold on it as you are, I guess.
Right.
But
And
I feel
that's
like
okay.
that could change, as the time goes. Because, like I said, it is a little jumpy. The pacing is a little bit faster, but like that's fine. If they like do it well in the end, like in the last half or whatever. So I guess we'll end up seeing, right?
Right.
Because right now we kind of don't really know what we're getting. Like in the animation of this, like I don't know if you mentioned it or not, but like the
Animation's
animation is like
great.
pretty good. So
It's crisp. I love
um
it.
and like the voice actors in it, it's also pretty good as well. Um as far as like a rating or whatever, mid season rating, I think this one is probably gonna be like a 6 or 7 range for me.
Okay.
Um I mean, obviously, it has potential to go up. Everything has potential to go up, but I feel like it's going to hit about that 6 or 7, unless it does some kind of like good
Changing
twist
pace.
or something like that to make me even more interested. So
Right. And that's fair. For me personally, I'm going to keep it at an 8 because I like the show so much and I can't explain it. I can't quite put my finger on what it is that I love so much about it outside of the animation. The music is beautiful. I love female leads in animes. It's one of my favorite things. I love and she's a badass. Like she's she has a huge sword, which, for those of you that don't know, I'm a huge Berserk fan. So immediately when I see an oversized sword, I get excited and she actually knows how to use that thing. She's a warrior for real. And
I feel like they do, like they are touching on discrimination too, with
absolutely.
her. So because she's like the only furless like human or humanoid thing or whatever. Everybody else is like an animal or hybrids and stuff like that. So um
Right. But
but yeah.
I do agree with you, Tyler, that this show has a ceiling, and I think the maximum potential ceiling for it is an 8, and I think it's going to stay at an 8. But the fact that, again, it's so strange, and that's what intrigues it about me. And I'm not going to drop it. I'm going to keep watching it. And, but, you know, whether it gets a second season, that remains to be seen how the rest of this season ends up unfolding. But it's one of those shows that I think has a lot of potential for long-term storytelling.
Yeah. Yeah, like I just lost my train of thought.
Okay, man.
But I guess if you don't have anything else, like I was gonna say something else, but I have no idea what it was. I was gonna add to that, but yeah, if you don't have anything else for that, like we'll move on to my next show though.
The only other thing that I would like to add is just the little fun fact is that the voice actor for Bella Black is actually the main voice actor for another show that we're going to be speaking about later on. So I'll come back to that, but I'll give you that little tease for now.
Oh, okay. I'm not I'm not sure who the voice actor is off the top of my head for her, so um but yeah, so our next show that we're going to be talking about is one of my must watches. I'm not sure if it's Makeine, Too Many Losing Hero Wins, whatever. I can't say that
Makian, Too
word.
Many
Yeah.
Losing Heroines.
There we go. That's why I got Hexx here. So we're gonna be talking about up to episode 5. This is one of my must watches of the season. It's one of my favorites. It might be my top new show of the season. I don't know. Where's it stand for you right now, Hexx?
I'm going to be honest, Tyler, this is where we're going to have a difference in opinion. For me, it's about a 6. As of right now, if I had to give, if the show was ended at episode 5, which I think that's the most recent episode. As a matter of fact, let me check my notes here. It's episode 5. For me, it's going to be at a 6 because to me, it's doing too many typical tropes that are found in, I guess we're going to call this a romance, right? Like a romance slice of life.
This is like a rom-com, pretty much.
Yeah. And I just hate the tropes in anime and rom animes. The best part about the show is the characters. Everybody's great except the main male lead. I think that he's the worst. And because of him is why I don't think that I like the show more than what I do.
Do
What are your
you
thoughts on that?
dislike him because like he's a bland
Very
like
bland,
yeah, which I
not
mean
self-aware.
obviously like a lot of like these romances and stuff, they have this character, the male lead is all like usually like the bland loner, like stuff like that. So like I'm used to that, you know what I mean? But
Right.
like I can overlook that, right? Because everyone that surrounds him is great. You right?
I agree.
So
But it's like, how many times are we going to see this? You know what I mean? How many times are we going to see this trope? And
a lot.
he's just not a good character either. Like I could understand if he was intriguing on his own, but the things that are good about him are the interactions that he has with the people around him. Which
Yeah.
all the characters are great. Like Lemon, great character, such a cutie pie. And personally, I like Chica. I like Chica, the little redhead girl. She's very, very shy.
Yeah.
Or Komari, Chica Komari.
I think
She's such a
that
sweetie.
I think that this show is actually gonna like make him change, right? And I
I
think that
hope
that's
so.
gonna be some of the fun of it is that he goes from like being this type of person, and then all these girls like he's not used to talking to all these like like crazy personalities, right? And like that's what he's having to do. He's having to talk to all these crazy personalities. And I think that he's gonna come out on the other side better at the end. But I enjoy like seeing people go from that and changing on the way. And on the way to that, we got all this fun time like with
Right.
all these other characters because one thing I love about shows like this is that they focus on all these side characters and they actually make their stories and wants and goals and stuff like that known, and they like focus on them and dive into it. And I really love that. Um, like other than that though, like the animation goes pretty hard on this. I
I
think
like
it's
the
A1
animation.
Pictures. Like they're knocking it out of the park. Like you usually don't find shows like this to have like like crazy good animation, but this one actually does. They're doing a really good job.
You
Um
are correct, Tyler. In fact, A1 Pictures is actually a studio
yeah.
that's behind this anime. But again, Tyler,
Um
the biggest drawback for me is just that the main character is so boring.
yeah.
And but that's the thing. But that's what hurts the show, in my opinion, because he sucks. But everybody is so cool and intriguing. Like all the girls are so sweet, and I feel like I've met every type of girl that's in that show. I feel like I've met personally in real life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they all have, very big personalities in their own way, even from the most meek and timid ones. Like I think personally my favorite character is Chica, which is the little redhead girl
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
very shy and mousy. I think she's so precious. And
I'm a big fan of Anna, honestly.
I like Anna. Anna's cool. Like she's a mess, man. She's
She's
just trying
out
to find a
there.
place where she just fits in, man. And I think that's she's endearing because of that.
Yeah,
Well,
I mean, speaking of like the things that you didn't like or whatever, like there's a couple things that I don't like too. But like they don't really take away from the whole show, I guess you can say. But I don't like them, and I think that this show like has some pretty unrealistic moments, right?
right.
And it goes back to the trope thing. Like they're trying to play on these tropes. One that I really disliked was the shed scene. Like we all knew what was gonna happen when
We
they
all
got
knew.
in the shed, right? He like what's the name? Nukumizu. He actually made a joke about it. Like he was like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna get locked in here, blah blah blah," and they
Right.
get locked in there. But like they went a little bit, they went more over the top, they went a little bit further than any like most other animes do. And like she's basically having a heat stroke or something or whatever, and she's like stripping all her clothes off and she's basically only got her underwear on at the end of
Right.
it when somebody opens the door. I think that's a little too far. Like I get it, like you're trying to make a joke about like the trope, I guess, but I still think that that's a little bit too far. I think that's too over the top for this show. I think
I agree.
so.
I think that's a little much, especially it's okay. All right. Now, I don't have a problem with it as long as a show is portraying adults. And these are
Yeah,
kids, like I'm an old man, I'm a senior citizen. So if I'm watching essentially what I would consider babies doing this, even though it's like just a telling of a story, it's like, how would I feel if that was my daughter? You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like that's where I go. So it's like I don't feel like it's necessary that particular scene was necessary to the narrative at all. But
Like I said, you
I
can
get what
tell
I
they're
did it.
trying to tell that as a joke, but the thing is,
Right.
I don't think it was funny. They should have stopped. Like they should have just done
They could have cut away.
the normal shit, right? Like them
Right.
open the door and they're like, "Oh, what have y'all been doing? It's so naughty in here," like
Right.
that kind of stuff.
But they could
Um,
have cut away. They could have like
yeah,
did a little time skip. You didn't have to see what was going on in the shed. All we
yeah.
had to know is that they got locked in there and the teacher found them.
And it
That was
makes it
it.
even it makes it worse that like Lemon is the one that they're portraying do this. The
Right.
sports, person, like I guess they're portraying the sports people are like dumb or whatever. So I don't
Right.
know. Um, Another one that I didn't like, another scene that was kind of a bit too much. I don't know. I think it's in the last episode. It was the vending machines scene. Do you remember
Yeah,
that one?
that was a little strange. Like the girl, she's
The
like, I guess
Yeah,
she's hot too, or no,
yeah,
she
she
was
was
thirsty
hot.
rather. She was thirsty.
Well, she was thirsty because she was hot and she was about to die, basically, is what she said. And so she
Yeah.
wasn't able
I'm sure she
to
was being dramatic.
get a bottle of water out of the machine and drink it. So Nukamizu had to get the bottle of water and help her drink it. And while he was helping her drink it, like some water come out of her mouth and like it shows it like dropping onto her boobs and then going
Yeah.
down to her and running on her legs. I'm like, why are we doing this? Like
Right,
get back
right.
to what we actually want. I know people want to see that or whatever, some people do, but like I feel like it's hurting the show. Now it's not hurting it like a lot for me because I can overlook that because like I said, I love all the characters that are in this, like Lemon,
Right.
Anna, Chica. Like I love all of them. Like they're so fun to watch. And the
Right.
fact that we're getting to see the fact that they're not like stumbling over each other trying to fall in love with our Nukamizu, the bland dude, whatever. Like they're not doing that. Like they're chasing after other people, right?
Right.
So I really enjoy that. So
But I don't like the fact that they're giving this toolbox such an incredible amount of attention. It's like these cutie pies are running around and like I feel like he's so corny that he's undeserving of the female attention that he's getting because it's like there's nothing intriguing about this kid. Yeah, like it's cool that he's like a book nerd. Like I respect that. He's very passionate about books and stuff like that. But other than that, like he's just kind of to me, he's just a background character that they pull to the front. But that being said, Tyler, I do want to talk about some things that I do love about the show. Like when they went on the summer camp trip for the literature club and Chica essentially confessed her love for the president of the book club. I
yeah,
thought that was chef's kiss, beautiful. Because it really gave her character depth because as you know, Tyler, like she's a very shy, meek character. So the courage that it had taken her to step out of her comfort zone, to retreat and hide, which she does. Like sometimes, like she can't even talk. Like she types things in her cell phone and holds it up
which is
so the
super
other
fun.
characters. Right, I love that about her. The fact that she mustered up the courage to confess her love for this other person, I thought was beautiful. I thought that was one of the best moments of the series for me.
Yeah, that's why I love shows like this because it actually like it 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 dives into all these other characters that aren't the main characters because like the
Right,
only two main characters here are like Anna and Nukamizu. Like the rest of them ain't main characters, and they're like diving into them, and they're getting prominent screen time. And like I love when shows do that. It reminds me of, like Community Todoke, like one of my all time favorite romances, shoujos.
mm,
And even though this ain't a shojo, like it's so good with like the characters and the interactions and building up the side characters, and I just love
right.
all that. So, um,
See, I don't like that term
yeah,
for the supporting cast. Like I don't see them as side characters because to me they're more important than
yeah,
Nukamizu. Like even Kaju, Nukamizu's sister, is more intriguing to me than him. And also too, Nukamizu's a cheapskate. Nobody likes a cheapskate, man. I really hate that about him. Like you're such a cheapskate. It's like they did everything possible for me not to like this character.
but in that, I feel like he's made that way for a reason.
Right,
He's made like they make these things just like they make like the isekai main characters. Like it's easy for us to like I guess look through their eyes or whatever. So,
right.
um, but I guess I'll go ahead and say like what I think this is gonna be. I think this is gonna be like an 8 or a 9 for me. I know you already said yours. It's
Thanks.
probably gonna be a 9 unless this all depends on how many more like over the top sexualized scenes that we get. Like if we start getting like a lot more, then it's probably going to be lower. Because even though I will overlook them, it's still going to hurt my opinion of the
Right.
show. Because it's going to
Especially
take away from what I actually love, and that is like the romance aspect and like the side character aspect and like all the unique characters that we got to build around, and learning about them. It's going to take away from that, and they're actually making like Lemon look horrible, you know. Even though she doesn't mean what she's doing, she doesn't understand that what she's doing is wrong or whatever, but they're still having her do it. So,
even
um,
the relationships that the other characters have
yeah,
amongst themselves is more intriguing to me than Nukumizu. I just don't like him, man. I mean, that's all what it's going to boil down to. I think that the ceiling for this show, absolute maximum, is going to be a 7. Currently, for me, is at a 6. But they got to show me something, man. Like either they got to, you know, either Nukumizo is going to have a come to Jesus moment, and which they've already planted the seeds, because the conversation that he and Anna had on the rooftop when he asked her to be his friend, like they kind of disguised it as, oh, he's gonna do a little love confession right now. That's what
yeah,
I thought that's where they was going. But the way that Anna was rejecting him because he's such a nerd, that's so I was so happy that she rejected him. But like they already planted the seeds that he's gonna have more growth than what he has right now. And I'm looking forward to seeing that, because I think that'll make the show better if they show him growing more. Because the
yeah,
show is good. 6 is not bad by any means. Uh, hopefully, Tyler, you're gonna be able to pull up like a little rating system. I'll share that with you later so you could clip it when I'm talking about this. But I'm very tough when it comes to ratings, and I like the show. It's a good show. I think it will be better once Nukumizu starts pulling it together,
yeah.
because
And we got
everything
a
about the
half
show
of a
is cool.
season left. Like anything could
Right,
happen. So,
right.
um, but yeah. Do you have anything else for Makeine? Too many losing
Hey,
heroines?
man, I just hope Nukumizu makes me like him even if it's just a little bit more. That's it. Because the show is good. I like the show. I do
Yeah,
enjoy the show. But again, my enjoyment is the characters and their interactions, even around Nukumizu. Because Lemon and Chica became BFFs in like
yeah,
the last couple of episodes. So I can't wait to see where that goes, because they're two of the best characters, and that they're gonna have some fun. I hope they have an episode just of them two being buddies, because I would love that, like a little buddy cop. They're gonna go eat, go to the library or the bookstore together. I think that'll be really, really great for the show. Because the most
yeah.
recent episode, it was okay. They were trying to catch the dude cheating.
Yeah.
The president of the book club, his girlfriend was trying to catch him cheating with another girl, with Lemon actually, because Lemon and the president of the book club, they're like best friends.
Yeah. I
They're
mean,
childhood friends.
yeah, I would talk about that a little bit, but I don't. I think we'll save that for later.
That's
Because
fine.
we're not 100% sure yet what's going on, but it was a pretty good episode revolving around that. They even changed the ED. Did you see that?
I did.
Okay.
I like that ED, because it's our girl Lemon.
Yeah.
It was
And
like a little fantasy, like she was having a little dream. I liked it. I thought it was
yeah, so I guess we'll see. Like I'm hoping for Lemon or whatever, because Lemon is a fun character, but maybe she'll get what she wants. Who knows? But we'll
cool.
see, I
No,
guess. Um, but I guess that's all we got for
that's it.
Makeine. I guess we'll let Hexx get into
Yeah,
his
yeah.
next show.
Now, this next show is going to be Love is Indivisible by Twins. Now, for me, this show currently, Tyler, it is standing at an 8. And the reason I love this show is because it has the elements of typical ROMs, but it doesn't do the tropes. The characters genuinely have feelings for each other. They're expressing those feelings to each other, which is not very common in um, I guess in ROMs. I guess it's, and again, I'm not sure. I'm not an expert or anything like that, but culturally, Japanese folks are very conservative, and they're not as expressive. So when you express feelings, romantic feelings for other individuals, it's a big thing. That's why, like, they take confessions very seriously when they do that in anime. Like, they're a big deal. They're big key plot points. But you already have that established in this show in Love is Indivisible by Twins. And essentially the premise is you have these June, which is the main male character, the male lead. He's friends, childhood friends, and next door neighbors with Rumi and Naori, which are twin sisters. So they have like a little love triangle going on. But it's starting to heat up because the most recent episode, Tyler, Rumi and Naori are kind of at ends with each other. They're kind of like, I guess, standoffish in a way, I guess you could call it, because they're both after June's affections, and June, it kind of feels like he's caught in the middle because he loves them both. Like, you can tell that he cares about them both, maybe one a little bit more than the other. That's kind of what they're hinting at.
I also think that like he cares about one more than the other because he was
Just a little bit.
apparently with her for a year, right? Like
Right.
you do get closer to like somebody when you're like going out with them for a year or whatever. Like that.
See, Tyler, I disagree just a little bit. Not to take away from what you're saying, but I just disagree just a little bit because he's neighbors with them. Like, he grew up with them. So like, he knows them. They're essentially on equal footing. You understand what I'm saying? The only difference would be is he got to know her romantically.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He got to start looking at her differently,
Right.
or whatever. And like, I'm assuming that he started spending more time with her and less time with Naori, as well, because they was spending a lot of time together and Rumi wasn't. So like, it kind of flip flopped.
I think that's the best way to describe it, Tyler. I think that the way that it flip flopped, because Naori has the same interests as June, essentially. Like, they're both like, in the nerdy stuff. They're both otaku, very otaku, you know what I mean? And like, their dads are like buddies and everything. So like, he already hung out with, like, he has that rapport with Naori, that the deep relationship is there. So like, yes, I think you're right that they did flip flop, but it's kind of like a little trade off. I don't think that one is necessarily ahead of the other, in my opinion. That's just kind of the way I see it.
Yeah, I mean, if it was, then like we wouldn't have a show, right?
Right, of course.
But it was weird that we had to wait until episode 4 and 5 to finally figure out how it was going to be a love triangle, right? Because up until this point, like, he was leaning more on one side because obviously they was dating and stuff. And now we actually figured out like how it's going to happen. I was wondering this whole time, like, how is this a love triangle? Like, how is this going to be a love triangle? Because I just couldn't figure it out. And like, we finally figured it out. They finally told us how it was going to be a love triangle. And like, I'm a big fan of love triangles. I ain't gonna lie, like high school romances and love triangles. I'm a big fan of it. This I do love that, like especially Naori. She, like, her and June, like, their discussions and like their behaviors about being nerds and stuff, that's pretty cool. Like, we don't see that a whole lot. We don't see like all these references a whole lot, especially like references to like Western stuff. They're throwing out like Lord of the Rings and stuff like that.
Star
We're getting
Wars.
all these like cool references from them, and I really love that as a character. I do it, and I guess to go back on what you said too, you said that like they express their feelings or whatever, right?
Yes.
And
even romantic feelings, they're very like, you see that more in the more recent episodes.
Yeah, so
we can talk about that if you want.
I just want to talk about it just for a second. They like the dialogue is like very much like college age dialogue, right? You feel like they're in college because of the stuff they're saying. It's more vulgar. I'm not sure what this show is rated, but I feel like the rating has to be around a mature rating because they say some pretty non-anime stuff in this.
Right.
And like I'm okay. Like I'm not like against it or whatever. It's just weird. It's just weird when an anime does this, especially when they're supposed to be like teens. I don't even know what do you happen to know their age? Like probably about
I,
15.
I would assume like second year in high school, so
Yeah.
15, 16 years old. But
Yeah.
I mean, I can't frown on that, Tyler, because I was
Yeah.
worse than that
Well,
when I was their age.
yeah, I understand that, but how often do we actually see that like portrayed in a high school anime, a high school
Right.
rom-com, right? Like they're saying some crazy stuff, some stuff that's better left in the bedroom without,
They were in the bedroom.
being yeah,
They
but yeah.
were-
I don't know, like it definitely caught me off guard, especially June's friend or whatever,
Oh yeah,
like
no,
his
he's a
little
creep.
advice or whatever, like you can tell
Yeah.
that dude hasn't never been around a girl whatsoever.
Toshige is a full blown creep. I don't like him at all.
But yeah, other than that, like other than like the dialogue being kind of weird, and out of place, I guess you can say, like I'm enjoying this okay. Like I don't know why it's like a 6.73 on Mal. I feel like more people would love this, because
Right.
like quintessential quintuplets was a big thing, right? It was really popular, and this is like just a boiled down, like condensed down, quintessential quintuplets at the end of the day. Um, somewhat. So obviously we don't know how it ends, but if you enjoy this, you should give quintessential quintuplets a
And I
try, bro.
will.
So
I take your recommendations, Tyler, very much into consideration because you have excellent taste. I want to be known on the record that you have excellent taste. So if Tyler gives you a rec, folks, listen to this man because this brother knows he's cooking. He knows what he's talking about. But for
well,
me, the
just
dialogue
imagine. I was
is the selling point.
yeah. I was going to say, just imagine like you love this romance that's got two sisters. Imagine having five sisters.
I mean,
You know
I
what
don't know
I
how it would feel. I mean, obviously, I'm going to give it a shot. I'm not going to like, you
mean?
know, just disregard it. But I think that the dialogue in the show is what makes it appealing to me because it feels real.
Yeah,
You understand what I'm
I
saying? Like,
understand
it
that.
feels like they're real people, and it's not like, oh, I'm shy, and no, you can't say that, which is very, very typical, like, and very tropey. Like,
And
come on, man. Like,
Naori's way out there too. Like
I
she
love
she
her,
says
man.
some crazy stuff. She's like
She's hot, man.
she's like, "Are you
She,
gonna think about that? You gonna think about that
right.
later tonight?" And I'm just like,
Yeah.
"Bro, you gotta chill."
I mean, bro,
His mama might be listening, you know?
like they're horny kids. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Look, and even them, like the way that they present that as they're like, they're horny teenagers, essentially. I kind of like laugh it off. I feel like for some reason it's not bad when Naori says it, but when Toyoshige says it, it's just, oh man, I feel like I gotta
it's
take a
crazy.
shower.
Yeah,
Because like he's addicted to porn too. Like, and I don't
yeah,
think that makes it any better. Naori, that we know of doesn't have any like, I don't kink shame for
yeah.
starters, but just he's so cringe, man. Ugh.
But
Yuck.
I guess to get into our like maybe where we see this going or whatever, like rating wise, I think it could be around a 7 for me. How they go, like it could be bumped up to an 8. I don't know. It seems like it was a bit it took them 5 episodes to get to this point, so like I don't know what they're gonna do with the rest of the time, like it's
Right.
it's hard to know. So I feel like a 7's a good bet for me. So
For me, for starters, I think that I just don't agree with anybody on Mal. I'm just gonna get that out the way.
Mal is
Six
crazy. I'm just saying.
6.73. That doesn't do it any justice. So don't go by the rating. For me, truthfully speaking, Tyler, I think that this show is going to remain at an 8 for me. In order to go up any higher than that, like they're going to have to get married. Like they're going to have to be like something huge is going to have to happen, which it's a possibility. Like I know it's based on a light novel and a manga. Then they're both releasing, so we don't know what happens. It's yet to be determined the future of this thruple, essentially. But something huge is going to have to happen for me to bump it up more than an 8. I think 8 is perfect for where it needs to be. I like the storytelling. I like the character design. The ED and the OPs are nice. I like this type of romance because again, it feels real and I like that. It's not tropey, it's not campy, it's not it's just I think it's a good romance. I think it's a great romance. By no means am I an expert in ROMs in anime, but for me, like as someone that's starting off in ROMs, this is a great one. For me.
Hell yeah. Okay. Um, that's good enough, you know. So, if you don't have anything else to say about Love is Indivisible by Twins, I guess I'll move on to my next one.
Right on.
So the next one I'm going to talk about is Magical Girl and the Evil Lieutenant used to be arch enemies. And we're going to be talking about, did you watch today's episode?
I didn't watch today's episode, but I am current.
It's
Like
fine.
that's the only one that I haven't watched because I was getting ready for this show. So
Yeah. So we'll talk about up to episode 5 then, which is last week's.
okay.
So first of all, I just want to make a mention that this is a short anime. So like the episodes are only like 10 to 12 minutes long, something like that.
They are. Yep.
But with that being said, like I'm a pretty big fan of this, right? It's pretty cute. Byakuya is someone I feel like that must be protected at all costs, you know, because she's
Agreed.
such a kind and like wholesome character, I guess, which is understandable. Like that's what they're going for in this. You know, she's supposed to be portrayed as that. Like she's very
Right.
soft spoken, she's very kind and stuff. Um and honestly, like this has a lot of wholesome moments in it too, but it also has some cringy tropes in it too.
Oof.
And I feel like we have to talk about that for just a second, or at least I do. Because I don't really enjoy those. Like we got the tentacle trope, right? That
Right.
shows up with the
Slime.
slimes. And like I hate, so I don't mind it, but I hate it when it's used to threaten a woman sexually, right?
Right.
That's so
As do
cringe
I.
to
I hate it.
me.
I agree.
So like you can like use tentacles or whatever to like threaten lives, you know, and
No,
make
you can't.
tension, but you can't I hate it when they use it sexually. Like there's
Right.
ways to, you know, do it without being sexual, right?
Right.
So, and they choose not to do it here. Like they choose to be sexual. Um like I wish that it would just stick with like the wholesome moments
Right.
between the lieutenant and Byakuya, and not try to force those like risque moments, right?
Right.
And like also like Fomalhaut, Fomalhaut, whatever is it's the blonde subordinate. Um he's like a really fun character. Like
He is a goofball.
I really like him. Like he goes and like tries to find a ball or whatever. Like he brings something back that's not the ball that's thrown.
Got a
Uh,
watermelon.
yeah, like I really enjoy his character a lot. I also think that he kind of has a crush on the lieutenant.
I think so too. I
And
think I mentioned that to you before.
yeah, and I would love it if this became like a love triangle type thing, right? Where
Right.
the lieutenant is trying to fall in love with the Byakuya. Byakuya is falling in love with him or whatever, but then you got Fomalhaut over here like trying to fall in love with him too. So I feel like that
Right.
would be really fun for this show, but I'm not sure if they're going to go down that path or not. Um I also kind of wish that maybe that the lieutenant and him would maybe try to overthrow the evil people. That way, she wouldn't have to do it anymore, right? And they could just go on their way. But I'm not sure they're going to do that either, because that would do away with the whole plot, basically, right? Like that's what the
Right.
whole show is about. Him trying to
Keep it a
navigate
secret.
around like the evil, like his relationship and like the evil people or whatever. So, but what do you
I
think about it?
I like the show a lot. For me currently, I like the short format. I think that it's very good. But the problem with this show about being a short format is that it's such a good show that I want more.
Yeah, that
I
you
feel
want
like
more.
12
Yeah,
minutes is not enough, to give me what I want from the show. And I think that's the whole point. I think that's, they're giving you just enough to keep you intrigued, to keep you hanging on till next week. But I do like the show. I like the characters. The cat, Mitsu Sakai, the cat, he sucks.
yeah,
He's gross as hell. I'm glad Mira, aka the Bad Lieutenant, took care of him in the one episode. I'm sure he's going to be back. They showed him last week's episode. They showed him that somehow he survived the beating that Mira gave him.
yeah.
Why, I don't
I
know.
think he's like he's not like he's like above. He's like a higher power or something, right?
Right,
So,
right, right. I want to
but
touch on what you said with the tentacle thing. I think it's gross too. Like, we don't need tentacles in anime. And I'm sorry if that's your cup of tea. I will kink shame you for that. That's gross. It was unnecessary. And I also didn't like after the fact that the cat, Mitsukai,
yeah,
was selling an erotic tape of poor little Byakuya. He was like selling it on the internet and like later on that same episode, she's like crying her eyes out. She goes to a cafe where Mira is having a meeting with the rest of like the evil organization, and she's crying her eyes out because the cat is also making her work jobs. So essentially, like, he's forcing her into like kind of prostitution in a way, only not in a sexual manner.
yeah. I kind of think that she got out from under that. Kind of
Right.
is what it seems like.
That's what it seems like.
After like the evil lieutenant, took care of him. But I don't know. I feel like he'll come back. Like he'll
Yeah.
be a prominent character again or whatever. Because like that's what the show is more.
Right.
Basically they got to have some form of tension. And that's how they get the
Right.
tension. So
Well, he's not the only route that they could go to because, like,
yeah,
on the other side of that coin that, you touched on it before. And I know for a fact that I presented the whole theory of Fomahat, him having a crush on Mira, which is the evil lieutenant. I kind of feel like they could go that route if they wanted to, but you have him as well to provide that tension of, well, what if he catches me? What if he, if he wasn't so dense, right? And he completely swerved us and pulled the Carol from Tomo-chan as a girl. And he actually is aware of what he's doing. He's self-aware and like tells Mira, hey, look, I know that you've been seeing the magical girl Byakuya all along, and I understand the nature of your relationship. And I think you and I should have something going on. What if I tell the evil organization what you've been up to this whole time? If they use that, that would be pretty cool. And then you have the whole evil organization. Also, too, they're completely they're somewhat unaware of what's going on with Mira because they all see him behaving strangely. But the cat dude, he sucks. But I love the interactions between Byakuya and Mira. Like, I think that those interactions are so wholesome. I love, there's not a lot of tropes in anime that I love, but one of the tropes that I absolutely love and I will continue to love forever is the villain turning into a good guy. Yes, yeah, I know it's overdone, but it's something that I love to see. I love the wholesome nature that, the way that Mira is presented in the show. It's like he's a villain, but only a villain in name. Like, he's not really a bad guy. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like, he's not a bad guy, so you kind of root for him, especially like, when he beats up the little foot soldiers, the little
yeah.
squeaking nonverbal foot soldiers.
I was gonna
That's
say
hilarious.
I wanted to bring that up that like they was really fun. Like the way that they
Yeah, they're
talk, they
super
like the
fun.
squeak and stuff. Like that's a really cool like thing for them to
Right.
do, right?
It
So
makes it fun. That's
yeah,
another element that brings fun into the show.
yeah. Um, but I guess Like other than that, like I like it a lot. I think that even though this is like a short anime, it's rated 7.5 on Mal, which is kind of high. Like I didn't really expect that.
Right. I
Um,
saw that.
and I think that it would hit around a 7 for me too, maybe an 8, depending on how they do like the future. Like we just don't know if it's gonna keep on like doing these little skits like where he's just basically pampering her or whatever, or if he's actually going to take the next step. If they like take the next step and like he starts trying to overthrow things or like try to be together officially, I would give this an 8 honestly, but I just don't know if they're going
Right.
to do that or not, because then they would lose their
The
plot
whole point of the
basically.
show.
So yeah.
Well, but then again, it's in the title of the show. The fact that they used to be arch enemies.
Yeah.
The
Well, I mean,
magical
they've
girl and the
been
evil
they
lieutenant used to
be arch
be.
enemies like the whole time, basically, right? Ever since like
Right.
episode 1. So,
But
uh,
I do like Mira. I think he's a great character. I love Mira and Byakuya. Like all the characters are pretty much fun. Like Fomalhaut too is pretty cool. Like I don't know the rest of the evil organization.
yeah,
They did introduce them, and they do have names because they went around the meeting table with Mira and they all had names, but they haven't played a significant role. And it remains to be seen whether they're gonna have them come back at some point or another too. But honestly, they're not necessary because even if they don't bring them up ever again, I wouldn't mind that. I like the direction that the show is going in. I like the little silly nature of it. I like that he pampers her and that he treats her so gently. Like I love Mira for that because he's a good dude. Especially like when he brought her back from he helped her escape the dungeon and brought her back to her house and was like, I know you don't want me to leave. I'm gonna leave. I know you don't want me to leave. It's like you see him changing, and I love that. I love villains to heroes trope. I don't know if he's gonna be a hero, but for me, the show is currently at a 7, and I think that's a good place for it. It has the potential to go up 100% as far as I'm concerned because I love it. I look forward. It's one of the shows that I look very much forward to every week, especially as an seasonal anime watcher. It doesn't feel like a chore to watch it, and I know it's 12 minutes, but it's such a cool show, cool funny show that when it's over, I want more. So again, one of my favorite shows of the season because of the comedy and it's so sweet. It has like a sweet, wholesome element to it that greatly outweighs like the cringe nature of like Mr. Kitty Cat.
yeah. Um, and also like once you do watch this next episode, like we also get introduced to a new fun character, so you'll have to be on the
Right.
lookout
I
for
saw that.
that. Yeah.
I
Um.
I, I normally let the credits roll, so I kind of saw like the little teaser for
Okay.
this week's episode last week. So I'm looking forward to watching it. I might watch it after the show.
Okay. Um, I guess since we're done with Magical Girl, now it's
Okay.
time for Hex to get into his next show, and I haven't watched
Hey,
this, so he's gonna be all alone on this one, and he's just gonna basically give a spiel about it.
I'm gonna try to sell you hard on this one, Tyler, because this next show is gonna be Mayonaka Punch, and the basic premise of this show, Tyler, is essentially these three young women were living in a house together, and they had like a YouTube channel, and they were creating YouTube content. Something happened between the main character, which is named Masaki, and she had a falling out essentially with the other two girls, and they threw her out of the house and basically kicked her off the YouTube channel. She's no longer creating content with them. So what she's gonna do is she decided to create content on her own. So the journey of her creating content on her own eventually brings her to meet a vampire girl by the name of Liv, which is voice acted by, I'm gonna butcher this and I apologize, Feruz I, which is the same voice actor as Bella Black from Bye Bye Earth. So young lady's very talented in voicing two of the shows that I'm watching actively this season. And essentially, Liv I guess lives in a vampire coven. They all live in Banpai Manor, which is a mansion. It's a mansion that has separate rooms. They all cohabitate. Eventually, Masaki goes to live with them to create YouTube content. Liv and Masaki essentially they create a stipulation like we're going to create YouTube content, right? But when we get 1 million subscribers, then I'll let you suck my blood, essentially. So that's what he tells Liv. And they agree to it. Eventually, she goes to live with her and the other vampire girls. And they just go on silly adventures. It's typical slice of life, all female cast. What's there not to love? Vampires.
Okay.
Personally, Tyler, I think you would love this because all the characters are fleshed out differently and they all have like different archetypes.
I didn't know that this was like I didn't know this had vampires in it. So
yes,
that makes it like more interesting. Vampire slice of life / YouTuber. Like, okay, now we're talking.
Right. So essentially when they first started creating content, when together, like the Masaki, the main character, and Liv starts creating YouTube content with the rest of the girls, they're showcasing their vampire powers, but that's like a big no-no. Like a yet to be an unseen powerful, I guess, vampire lady named by only simply known by the name Mother is essentially watching them and keeping a close eye on them. And it upsets her and she's like, no, absolutely not. You can't, compromise the existence of vampires. You can't let humans know that we exist. So I guess the main vampire Mother, she has an assistant named Yuki, which it's presented that her and Liv, the main vampire girl that lives in the house at Vampire Manor, that they know each other for a very long time. Vampires live forever or whatever. So they Yuki goes and tells them, look, you can't make YouTube content anymore under any conditions, especially if you're going to use vampire powers. So they scrap that idea and they decide to make original content with no vampire powers. And just hijinks ensue from there. It's, again, typical slice of life comedy. It's a really fun show. That's the best thing that I could say about it. It's one of the ones that I enjoy watching week to week. For me, currently, it's at an 8. And I'm very confident that if and when you decide to watch this, you're going to love it, Tyler.
Yeah, it might be sooner rather than later because, I think I'm caught up on mostly everything. So
Right.
I was just in a bit of a, like, I guess, bind trying to make sure I had almost everything caught up with for this episode, since we're talking about like
Right.
a lot of different shows. So, but after this, like, I should be pretty decent to maybe start another one, even though I'm watching so many. So we'll
I mean,
see.
same. I mean, it's kind of hard to juggle so many shows at the same time. So I understand where you're coming from. But this is definitely going to be worth a watch, in my opinion. And if I had to guess, this would be something that you, based on your tastes and what I know of the shows that you like, I think this is going to be one that you're really, really going to enjoy too. Especially like, all the characters are fun and they're all different. Like they have, Liv, which is the main vampire girl. She's more like carefree, and none of them are villainous, by the way. It's just like a funny slice of life with, there's a little element of Yuri that's alluded to there, which,
Yuri bait.
It's cool. Yeah, it's Yuri bait. It's alluded to. They haven't shown it outright yet, but I like it. I think it's a great, strong part of the show. But Liv, main vampire girl, she's silly, kind of not necessarily an airhead, but she's she's tough. She's a tough cookie. And then, Ichiko, which is the other, I guess, younger type of vampire girl. She's silly. She cooks. She's kind of like a little airhead space cadet, but she's adorable. She's probably my favorite. The other one named Fu, she's, very much like Chica from Makeine, Too Many Losing Heroines. She's very meek and quiet and sweet. And then Tokage, she's the degenerate gambler one, and she's hilarious, and she has a bad temper too. So like you have a wide array of big personalities in this show, and they're adorable. It's a really fun show to watch.
Okay.
It's an A for me.
It's an 8. Okay.
It's an A for me, for
Alrighty.
sure.
Well, if it's an A for you, it'd probably hit around that for me, honestly. I just got to get to watching it. So,
I hope you watch it sooner rather than later so we can, because we're going to talk about this. I know probably during our Sunday watch parties afterwards, you know, you and I kind of shoot the shit afterwards, but this is definitely going to be the ones that we're going to spend like an hour or more talking about, because it's a lot. It's just a fun show.
yeah. I mean, I look forward to it. So, but if you don't have anything else for, what is it, Mayonaka Punch?
Mayonaka Punch. Mayonaka is essentially it's Twilight. It's the Japanese word for Twilight, and
Okay.
Punch is because it's a little joke. Because it's a little joke that I'm not going to ruin for you, but you'll see when you watch a show.
Okay.
You'll get it when you watch it. But other than that, I don't agree with the Mal score. It's 7.05 on Mal. For me, it's an 8. Watch it.
Well, with that being said, the next show that we're going to be talking about is Psuedo Harem. I guess it's also known as Gigi Harem as well. We're going to be talking about up to episode 6 of this. So I just want to say, like, I'm a big fan of this rom-com. Like, it's really funny, right? I'm laughing almost every episode pretty much because it's either cute, it's really cute, or it's just like super funny. I really like that, like, each episode is basically multiple segments. Like, I like how they break it down to multiple segments. It's not like a I guess a season that has like consistent I guess a storyline. It's more like they're put in these different scenarios basically. And the characters are having to get through these scenarios, and while there is a like a back story, I guess, kind of going on with Rin and Iji's romance, right? Like, there's nothing else really happening. Like, we don't really
Right.
get to see a whole lot of other people. It's mostly just about Rin and Iji, and like, that's fine. Like, they're doing a really good job with that. I think one of the reasons why this stands out so much for me is that it is funny. Like, I feel like it's like a rom-com done right. Like, there's really no sexualized scenes. It's just really wholesome moments between two drama nerds. That's about
Right.
it. Like, I love that. And like, I feel like that the voice actors are like top notch. You got Sayori Hayama. She is Rin in this, and she's literally this whole thing is just her showing off that she can do all these different tropes and like
Right.
voice all these different tropes. And like IG ain't a slouch either. Like his voice actor ain't like bad either. He's
He's
doing
well
a good
known. Yeah.
job too.
He's
So
actually a very well known voice actor in his
yeah,
own right as well. He's
yeah,
in quite a few anime.
yeah. So like just for for this show having two main characters and not really like revolving around a lot of the side characters, like they do such a wonderful job. And I know that we have only gotten like a few scenes of Rin's sister Ayaka,
I love
but
her.
I really love her. I hope we get like more little segments of her like just being like the big
Cute.
sister or whatever, even though she's like the way little sister. Like, it's
Right.
just so cute. So
I think for me, to date of this show, that's my favorite episode. The one that featured Ayaka, Rin's
yeah.
baby sister, because she was so precious. I love adorable children in anime because they're like, especially ones that give you like cuteness, aggression, because like they're so sweet and cute. Like I wish real life kids were adorable and sweet and cute like that.
And she's like
And
really mature for her
she,
age. So
I don't think she's necessarily mature.
She's more
Uh,
mature for Ren than Ren, though.
I think she's treating it as she's playing a game with her big sister.
Yeah, it could be.
That's what I
Yeah,
see it as because uh, in the little end segment, the little I forgot the name of the segments that they were having during that episode where
yeah,
essentially like Rin was home from school and she was being lazy on the couch, and Ayaka was essentially relegated into assuming the big sister role and taking care of her. During the final segment of that, Ayaka says, "I know I raised you better than that." So that's how I know that essentially she's just mimicking adult behavior. She's just a little kid that's mimicking adult behavior.
yeah.
But she's adorable. She's precious. And the episode that she was featured in, I thought was great. And I agree with you. I hope that that's an element that we get more of as the anime progresses. I do like the fact that the supporting cast is very much secondary and it heavily revolves around Nick and Rin and Eiji. But they are there, and I think that the supporting cast, like the president of the drama club, like he's really funny too when he's around. He kind of like is the big brother of all of them. But something that
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to in this show is they established that Eiji is older than Rin. So they're going to have to come to terms with the fact that eventually he's going to move on to, I don't know if they're middle schoolers or high school students, but he's
I
a
think they're
year
high
ahead.
schoolers, but I
He's
think, yeah,
he's going to eventually move on, and they kind of they allude to that in one of the episodes that he's going to be moving on and she doesn't want to be left behind, which was kind of emotional. It was a really sweet episode because they like each other a lot, like, and it's more than mutual. Like Eiji is still kind of like a little dummy about it, which
I think he used to be. I think he's just playing a bit now. Try not
I think
to.
so too.
Yeah.
I think so too, but I would much more rather seeing a little bit more romance from him, because like essentially Ren is kind of throwing herself at him, like not in a cringy way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
It's
she's
super cute.
definitely, yeah, she's definitely like making it. I mean, bro, like she's going through all this effort. Like she's essentially playing characters, right?
Yeah.
So like the harem, the joke, the title of the show is essentially a joke. Pseudo harem is a fake harem, essentially. It's one girl that's playing different characters. And I think that that's hilarious. I think it's really cute and original. And Sari Hayami, which is the Ren's voice actress, I love her and everything. She's one of those that I'll know her voice in any anime. I'm serious. Like
Yeah.
if I watch any anime, like I'll know it's her right away. So I'm a very, very big fan of Miss Saori Hayami. Super talented, super adorable in anything she's in. Even her serious roles, she's Shinobu in Demon Slayer, and she's adorable as Shinobu too.
Yeah.
And she's just she makes the show essentially. Like it is about her, but she makes the show much more entertaining as opposed I'm sure that I wouldn't enjoy it as much if it was somebody else.
Yeah. Like
And that's the value
yeah,
of it, of having a great voice actor.
like I said, she's basically showing off at this point, showing that she can
Yeah.
do like this so well, like being her own little harem. So
Right.
I guess for me, like this show is probably gonna hit around an 8, honestly. Like I really enjoyed it a lot. I feel like that they're moving towards like getting a little bit more serious, and actually falling in love little by little, which I really
I
like.
like that.
I think as the season goes on, I think that they'll both come to realize that, oh, like we do both love each other. Maybe we should take it to the next step. And I feel like towards the end of the season, like the finale or something, I think that that's where we're gonna get that like official like together thing, maybe. So
I hope not, because I think that that's the whole charm of the show, is the fact that they're kind of just like tiptoeing around each other.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they're
That's
tiptoeing
why I
around
said
each
the
other.
finale, because I feel like this ain't gonna get a second season, right? So
I mean, you never know.
Well, most time they don't. Like most time shows like this don't get a second season. So like I don't know. It's just the way it works. You know what I mean? So
Right. I mean, the manga is finished,
yeah.
so maybe they can essentially, bring it all together and tie it up in 12 episodes. One more season wouldn't hurt, especially like if they take their time fleshing it out, because that is where the charm is for me in the show. The fact that they're tiptoeing and learning, they're kids learning how to fall in love. And of all the ROMs that I'm watching this season, this one by far is the most wholesome. It's very, very cute, very wholesome. And it's just like a cute love story between kids, as it should be. That's not,
Yeah.
to take away from any of the other ROMs, but this one is real good to me because of that. That's where it's the most charming.
Okay. Yeah, so did you say like what you was thinking like score wise?
For me, score wise, as of right now, if the season ended right now, for me it'll be a 7. But considering that we have 6 more episodes, rather, a total of 12, I think it has the potential to go up to an 8. I think so.
Yeah. And it's setting at 7.55 right now. So I think
That's
it's
good.
being pretty well received. I think, like I said, the voice actors like are carrying the show essentially. So, like if you watch it for anything, just watch it for that. Watch it for the cool like interactions and stuff. So,
Right. Watch it for Sayori Hayami.
yeah,
If you're a
Yor's
big fan
voice
of her, watch
actor.
it for that. Your Forge, you're correct.
Yeah,
And Shinobu from Demon Slayer. She's also Krishna from Red Cat Ramen. So
yeah,
if you're looking for a reason to watch this show, her should be enough. But it is really a sweet, wholesome show. At first, I must admit that I felt like I was watching a continuous show, but that's by design. I came to realize that was by
yeah.
design.
That's what I'm saying. Like there ain't like a whole lot of background plot going on. It's just like the background plot is like they're slowly forming romance. It's all about like basically they're putting themselves in all these different situations and seeing how they act. Is that's basically what the show is. Like you
Right.
throw these two characters in this situation and you see how Ren and IG is going to respond and interact with each other in these situations. So, and they do jump around a lot, like time wise, like it can be like months or whatever between
Yeah, they
episodes
do.
sometimes. So, but I don't think that matters because, at the end of the day, we're still getting these, separate segments in each episode showing different, scenarios basically. So,
Right.
um, but if that's all we got for Psuedo Harem, I think
That's
we'll
it.
let Hex move on to our next must-watch show, and this is a show that we watched for Watch Club a few weeks ago,
That's right.
actually, and this is also a continuing series from spring season. It started late spring, and it's continued on until the summer season. So, I'll let you take it away now.
Right on. Thanks, Tyler. So I want to start off by plugging the Anime Degens Discord group. If you have not joined, please take the time out right now to hit that link in bio and join us where we talk all things anime in the Anime Degens Discord. Tyler, it's been a pleasure knowing you. Thank you for having me. It's been great.
Hell
One of my
yeah.
favorite things that we do together is every Sunday at 8 Eastern Time, we watch 3 episodes. We get essentially a first look of an anime that we all vote on early on in the week. And Dead Demons Destruction was not even on my radar. I didn't even know about it last season. I was watching quite a few shows spring, but I didn't know about it at all. Like I saw it on Crunchy a couple of times, but I just kind of kept it pushing, didn't pay it no mind. And it won watch party for us one week. Watched the first 3 episodes. I had to step away, right? Because my brother actually showed up to my house, so I had to step away. But when I came back, so much stuff was happening that I was like, I gotta watch this show. Like essentially it starts off with episode 0, and episode 0, it's kind of like a setup, but I don't want to say too much. I actually don't want to say any spoilers at all about this show, Tyler, because I think it's one of those shows that it's a must watch. Like this one for sure is a must watch. For me, there's so many things going on. It's kind of like a mystery, and they're telling the story in like a weird chronological. It's not in a chronological order.
Yeah.
They're kind of jumping around a bit, but the way that they're doing it is not confusing. You just kind of have to be patient, or at least I didn't feel like it was confusing because I was enjoying what was going on so much that I just kind of missed it. But the charm of the show is the two stellar voice actors that they have to be Kadode and Otan, my baby girl Otan, my baby daughter. I have to protect her at every single cost with violence. I love her so much. She is such a cute character. Total space cadet, but she's a brilliant actor. And essentially these young women, Ontan's voice actress is a young lady. She's actually a J-pop artist by the name of Ano. And Kadode's voice actress, she's actually a singer as well, and her name is Lalas Ikuda. They carry this show tremendously.
And I just want to say, many people probably don't know her by Akuda or whatever. She's actually one of the duo. She's one of the members of the duo Yosobi. So
I did not
the
know
popular
that.
group Yosobi, who has sung like Idol from Oshinoko. Like they done one of Frierin's OPs. Like they're a very
Really?
up and coming popular band, and that this is one part of Yosobi. So
That is awesome to know,
yeah.
especially, because I already hold the show in such high regard. So that's awesome to know that, again, I appreciate when studios get, multi-talented people to be a part of their product, essentially.
And it's crazy that Kadode, so this woman, Akuda, this Kadode is one of her, it's basically her only voice acting
credit.
Yeah, credit. I think she's got like one more, I believe. But I didn't know them. So like she's very, very new. This is basically the beginning of her career, and like she's killing it. And so is Ano.
Is, yeah.
Ano is like Anton's voice is like really crazy. She's like a very unique voice, and Ano is like absolutely killing it too. So
Right. But Ontan by far is my favorite. And no, don't get me wrong. Like I love Kadode and I love
yeah.
Lilas. What they're doing, like their duo is incredible. And especially like, shout out to Ano. Like Ontan is one of my favorite characters in a long, long time. Like she is just so cute. And like I love her because she is completely psychotic. She is unhinged. And they carry this show. I'm telling you, like the show is already intriguing as enough. Essentially, at the end of summer on August 31st, an alien spaceship showed up over Tokyo, and they've been there essentially for 8 years. And what's happening is in the course of 8 years, but we don't really know that, wink, wink, or that's not how they present it. But like, even then, like Kadode and Ontan aside, the other side characters are awesome as well. Because in episode 0, Kadode's dad is actually voiced by the legend, the GOAT himself, Mr. Kenjiro Tsuda, which immediately. I popped, Tyler. You remember when we were watching it for Watch Party? I was like, there he is, that's my guy.
Yeah.
I was so excited because I'm a big fan of Mr. Kenjiro Tsuda. But like they have
he fits that role too, like that character.
He's great.
So.
Like there's hardly anything that he doesn't not kill it in.
Yeah.
And he's so good. And just watch the show, folks. Like I don't want to give anything away with this show because it's like one of those shows, Tyler. I don't know if you'll agree, but it's just like it's so much cool stuff happening. And the story is so rich and layered. This is actually considered a slice of life seinen. I didn't know that until the other day. put it to you this way, folks. I am not a manga reader. Tyler would tell you that I never shut up about Berserk because to me, Berserk is the only manga in my world that exists. And that's not disrespect to other mangas at all by any means, but that's just what I own. And I never shut up about it because I'm a huge super fan. But I loved this anime so much that I wanted to know more that I started reading the manga. Just because like I feel like in the manga, obviously you get details that you don't get from the anime. And from what I understand in the anime, they're telling I haven't gotten quite there yet, but from what I understand, they're telling key plot points differently chronologically in the manga than they do in the show. So it's such a cool show that it made me go read the manga. Come on, someone that doesn't typically read manga, I had to go seek more because just the anime is not enough. And also one more thing, Dead Demons Destruction was actually a movie. I love saying that, by the way. It was actually a movie. It was 2 movies, yes.
Yeah.
The show is essentially those 2 movies broken up into 18 episodes with extra footage. The movies
I feel like the
are
people
not
that
available.
watch I feel like the people that watch the movies like got cut short, honestly, because I feel like they're
Right,
not getting the whole story that we are right now, you know?
right. But you know, it's okay because like
Yeah.
if I'm not mistaken, the last time I checked, the movies are not available in the US yet. And the minute that they are, I'm going to be running to go watch those.
See how
Hopefully
they're
they'll be
different.
available.
Yeah.
Yes, hopefully they'll be different. Maybe the animation will be a little different because the animation in the art in the manga, it's very it's basic, but it's nice. It's pretty.
Okay.
Especially like the big shots like in the manga they show like the stadium that they're constructing. Again, mild spoiler, but they're constructing a stadium and they show it like zoomed out and it looks incredible. This is a must watch.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I've been trying my best to get like more people watching this because since it started so late in the season, last season, I feel like a lot of people kind of missed out on it, right? They kind of
Right.
don't know about it. And for me, like I feel like if you're like a fan of aliens, like obviously we've talked about aliens being in this show. If you're a fan of aliens, like or sci-fi stuff, like
Sci-fi,
you
yep.
would really enjoy the show. Like I honestly like get like the heavenly delusion vibes. I know that
Right.
like people say that, but that's what it reminds me of, heavenly delusions, because you got this like I ain't gonna say like post-apocalyptic, but
Dystopian, you
yeah,
could say, right?
dystopian. That's the correct word for it. It's got like that dystopian world feel. But they're still living their like normal lives and stuff.
They're trying to,
But
yeah.
yeah, they're trying to, but they have like political stuff going on. They got like military things happening while they're trying to live their normal lives or whatever. Like they're trying to like do their best, and like, you just got this huge alien mothership above you,
Right.
and you got like these little aliens like coming down and like mingling among them and stuff like that. Like it's just so fun to watch this because we truly don't know what's gonna happen. Like
Right.
it's just one of those things where like what's gonna happen because we cannot predict it because it's just so wild. And I will say that this is a darker like
It is,
Hex
yes.
said it is a signing, and so and it's sci-fi too, and this is a very dark show at times.
Yes.
So
Trigger warning.
yeah. So definitely keep that in mind if you start watching it with, people or around other people because it does get pretty dark at
It
times.
gets intense,
Um,
yes.
Especially like episode 0, like the episode 0, I'm pretty sure that's like set in the future. Because once we go back to episode 1, we actually go back in time or whatever. So,
Right.
and episode 0 is like the darkest thing, like some of the darkest things happen in episode 0, and then it's a while before dark things start happening again. But I just want to put it out there that does happen. Now I think that now that we got like the non-spoiler stuff out of the way, or whatever, I feel like that I'm gonna give a spoiler warning now, and I'm gonna talk
Right.
about spoiler stuff that I don't like, and maybe we have a few spoiler stuff that we want to talk about too.
Right.
Um, there's a couple things that me and Hex too. I know he doesn't like it, but
Right.
like the whole interactions between like Kadode and the teacher, the sensei dude, like that's kind of weird. I know these girls are like 17, 18, something
18
like
plus.
that
Yeah.
roughly. They're like,
College age.
yeah, they're college age, but still like it's weird to see like teachers trying to have relationships with their students, right? And when they're supposed to be in high school, even though they're older age because of the spaceship and stuff, it's still weird, you know.
Right.
And I don't like that, but I like that they're being serious about it, and I like that they're not making jokes about it. This is like, I think honestly this is their way of showing us like what how they're thinking, like how their lives have changed and how they're what state they're in mentally. Um like this is their way of showing that to us, I believe. Um because this show, one thing I like about it is that they love showing us how all these different characters feel. Like that is the most important thing, is showing how they feel, how Kadode feels, how Anton feels, how everyone feels, and what their beliefs are. And like that's one of the things I love about this show. um and then you put that side by side to the aliens, right? And
Right.
like you're left wondering like who's actually in the right here. Is it
Right.
is it the military people, killing all these aliens? Is it Kadode and them? Like is it the aliens? Like who's actually in the right,
Right.
um and I don't know. And also another thing that I didn't like, I don't really like uh, uh let's see, Hiroshi, which is Anton's big bro. Apparently everyone that's older has a crush on Kadode. I don't know why, but it just is what it is. He has a crush on her, and I'm pretty sure he's like in his like mid like late
Mid
20s
20s at least.
probably. So
I'd
like
say mid 20s
yeah. It's definitely an age gap there. They
for
grew up
sure.
together or whatever, as friends or whatever. But he's always been way older, and I feel like that's a little bit weird too. But what do you expect from like a what's it called? Uh
A recluse, a shut in.
well,
That's what he
not
seems like
that,
to
but the
me.
conspiracing theorist, right? Like
Right. Yeah.
he's
Tinfoil
like
hat
a
vibe.
budding
Yeah.
conspiracy theorist. Like he's the keyboard warrior, stuff like that. So, uh, but yeah, I don't know. Like, I know that you dislike those two. Do you want to talk about them for a second?
I don't want to give him too much time, Tyler, because like you pretty much hit the nail on the head. Like you
Yeah.
and I, like we're very like minded when it comes to certain things that we'll be comfortable with in anime. I think that, of course it's gross, even though I want to be clear that Kadode is the one that has the crush on her teacher, but he's reciprocating in a sense. And I think that he's super cringe and super gross for that to begin with, because it's like, again, to me, because I'm a senior citizen, I'm not really a senior citizen,
Same.
but because I'm older, you know what I mean? I'm a mature, grown adult man. I see that as like a grown man hitting on a child, you know what I mean? Which is disgusting. I don't care for the Hiroshi stuff because again, there is even though there is an age gap there, as it's not as significant as it is between the teacher and Kadode.
Hell, he might
Um,
lose weight because of her, right? Because she's
right,
like,
he
"You're too
might.
fat."
Yeah, you're too fat. And you know what's
Yeah.
the crazy thing? It's like they show him uh, being, I guess, lean,
Yeah.
not
Back
not
when
overweight,
before
and he
he
was a
sat in
handsome
front of the
guy.
computer.
Right. And you know what's funny? Like, there's another episode. I'm pretty sure it's like one of the more recent episodes where Ontan's family, they own like a shop, like a convenience store. And like they showed up to the convenience store when they met Futaba, which is a girl from the countryside that moved to Tokyo for college. And essentially, Hiroshi, Ontan's older brother, is in the room and he cracks the door open to peek out to see who it is. And Kadode, joke in a joking way, says, "Hey, don't open the door all the way and stay at that angle because you're much more handsome from that angle." Which, of course, I burst in laughter. But Hiroshi's essentially a handsome guy, but like I think obviously he gained weight because of the stress in the situation. Like it was his way of showing how stress affected him, because the reality of the show is that it's very dark. Like there's also huge elements of social commentary there that, prejudice, racism a little bit, you could say. It's a lot to unpack. And that's why the show is so spectacular, because it's so multi-layered. You understand what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
for me, these are all, again, Tyler, and I agree perfectly with how you summarized it, that this is just people trying to cope, and their stress manifests in different ways. So they do things that's out of the ordinary and not necessarily typical, and stuff like that, because this is just a situation that they're kind of charting the territory. And I remember in our Discord group, in the Anime Degens Discord group, which I'm a part of, I mentioned that. I was like, I can't help but to see the similarities between what they're going through in their world and how it compares to how I saw the world during COVID lockdown, because that was a
Yeah.
scary time. Like we were essentially trying to do our best to navigate as a society, as individuals, and everything is different. You understand what I'm saying? So like it's hard to walk these uncharted territories, and you don't know what to expect. So there is very, very deep social commentary there. And I like that they're exploring that in different ways. But the show 100% has, I'm sorry, I lost my chain of thought real quick. The show 100% has that dynamic story element to it, essentially.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know. Like, I really like a lot of different things about this show. Um, so I can overlook those like minor things. Especially since they're doing it in a serious tone to show us. I think they're using it as tools to show us, like I said, how the world is now and how people are coping, kind of like you said. Um, like, but one of the things that like keep me coming back is like the characters. Like,
Right, for
this is like
sure.
sort of a slice of life, but it's more than that. Like it's got slice of life elements in it, but it's not slice of life. It's like a
Right.
sci-fi, shiny, like dystopian. Like it's got so many different things coming together to create this like show. And one of the things is like the characters and the character interactions. You got Kadode and Anton. It's one of my favorite things about this show is seeing them be friends and seeing how their relationship works, and how they're like interacting with all their other friends.
Right.
It's got some great slice of life moments in it, even though it's not a slice of life. Um, Other than that, like there's one thing that I really don't like, and it's not the show's fault, it's Crunchyroll's fault. This show in particular,
Translation.
more than others, like Crunchyroll has definitely been dropping the ball for like the subtitles, the
Right.
translations and stuff. Like they're not translating like the text on screens, they're not translating text messages. They're getting the translations wrong. They're like this last episode, I don't know if you noticed, but there was no translations for like over a day, for like a lot of
Mm.
people. And so like that's just crazy. Like I know Crunchyroll's been going downhill, as far as subtitles goes for a minute now, but like it feels like some shows get hit harder than others, and like Dead Demons is one of those shows, and I hope that people like overlook that and still watch it because it is a good show still. So
It's a great show.
Yeah.
Excellent show.
And speaking of
What?
that, like I guess I'll go ahead and say like this is a must watch for me as well. It's like one of my top anime of recent times, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
Like outside of like Frieren and Apothecary Diaries, like it's probably in the top 3 to top 5 range of the last year for me right now, but we've only watched what 11 to 12 episodes right now. So with that being said, like if it keeps on being unpredictable and giving us all these great story elements and adding them together with all these great characters too, like this will easily be at least a 9 and possibly a
Right. I
10
agree.
depending on what we actually see in the last half of this season. So I just want to reiterate that if you enjoyed like a show like Heavenly Delusions, you will enjoy this a lot. But if you thought Heavenly Delusions was confusing and stuff like that, then this show might not be for you because this is
Right.
pretty confusing if you're not gonna pay attention. Like you have to pay attention because
You
they
have
do
to pay
so many
attention.
like time switches and stuff like that. It's very easy to get confused, and I feel like this is the type of show that after it's all said and done, I'm gonna have to go back and rewatch it to make sure I understand the full capacity of what I was shown. So, and like I'm not usually a sci-fi guy. I just want to put that out there. Like I don't watch sci-fi shows very often because I don't enjoy like all the political stuff. That's one of the reasons why I don't really care for Mecha, right? It's
Yeah,
because
Gundam is
usually it's got
very
all that
political. Yeah.
political stuff going on in it. But like I'm having a great time watching this, and I'm not a big fan of sci-fi shows. So there's only like a very select few sci-fi shows that I've watched, like Heavenly Delusions and like Cowboy Bebop. Probably, I think that's a sci-fi-ish show.
Yeah, it is.
So,
Mhm. That's one of the
like
greatest of all time.
yeah. So I mean, there's only a few that I've watched, and I'm putting this up in like top 5 of the last year for me. And honestly, by the time it's said and done, it might move into like top, something all time. I'm not sure where that stands. Maybe top 20, top 25. Like I'm looking at that range. So like it's
Right.
just such a good, unpredictable show with a lot of good elements. It's like Frieren. Frieren perfected so many elements and
Oh my
added them
goodness.
all into one. And this show is doing the same thing by adding a lot of different elements and doing it good into one.
Right.
So, but
For me, Tyler, if I can just say just a few more things before we move on. This
yeah,
show right now, for me, if it ended again, my ratings are based on if the show were to end right now and we don't get another show until months from now, year from now. This show would be at an 8, but that's tentative because I see this show going up possibly to a 10. It very well could be easily for me a 9. And the only reason that it's not a 9 is because, again, they're not telling things in the same order as the manga, right? And I'm starting to see that now as I'm going into the manga, but it's not huge of a difference. One thing that I will say about this show, if you plan on watching this show, it can be confusing, but I also want to reiterate trigger warning because some things are very graphic and it's troubling to watch because even last week, I don't know if you remember, Tyler, I posted in the Anime Degens Discord, I told everyone, hey, like, this week's episode of Dead Demons, I feel like it should come with a trigger warning because it was pretty violent. It was
yeah,
hardcore. And I'm not gonna say why, because again, I'm trying to keep this very mild spoiler free to the best of my ability. But definitely a trigger warning. Be wary of that. But this show is very deep, very complex. Great show, great voice cast. Just it checks so many boxes for me. And again, I agree very much with what Tyler said. It has the potential of going up to for me easily to a 10. It's there.
yeah.
I don't know how they're going to do that because it's only 18 episodes, and we're at episode 12, right? If I'm not mistaken.
I think it's actually like the episode 0 and then 18
Right?
episodes
Yeah,
after
that
that.
counts.
So we got 7 more episodes to go. So
Okay.
essentially,
Okay. But because on analyst, the notes say it includes episode 0, so that's
okay.
why I'm thrown off a
I
little bit.
mean, it could. We we're not really sure. Like that's how I'm taking it. Which it could be, 17 plus 1, it could be 18 plus 1. Either way, we got
Right.
7 or 8 more episodes basically. So
Right. But it's definitely worth a watch. I agree. I highly recommend, and I'm very happy that we watched this on our Sunday watch party. Great show. Check it out. I'm comfortable. I'm not comfortable. I'm confident that if you like slice of life, which it is, a lot of slice of life elements, sci-fi, it has all these things balled up into presented into a great package. There will be something that you will love about this show, and the characters are just, high key relatable. Primarily female cast, which again I'm a huge fan of. I love an all female cast, primarily female cast. And these girls, considering that they're newcomers, are completely knocking it out the park. I love this show. That's it.
hell yeah.
Mic drop.
Hell yeah. Yeah, this is one of the shows that I really wanted to talk about, so I'm glad we was able to talk about it in depth, kind of. So hopefully some of these people will actually go out and watch it now. So it needs more love. But
Yeah,
is
it
that all
definitely
you
needs
got?
more love.
Yeah,
Especially on the Mal score, which is 7.75. But I
yeah.
don't think that's. I mean, I guess that's fair, but
I
it is what it is.
think it'll go up. So, but is there anything else you want to talk about with Dead Demon's Destruction?
No, that's it, man.
Well, so that's basically all of our faves from the season so far. It's all of these has been must watches for both of us. So hopefully you'll check them out. Hopefully you're watching them already. Let us know what you think, obviously, in the Discord or other social medias. Before we go, I would like to let HollywoodHexx shout out his stuff again. And yeah, so it's time for the elevator pitch.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate you taking the time out and listening to Anime Degens episode 80. Thank you, Tyler, Dan, Bass, and Nam for having me. It's been a pleasure. It's been lovely. If you want to hear more of my dog shit takes, please go ahead and follow me on social media at HollywoodHexx_SHM. That is my personal account. If you follow the Scary Hours Mobb, you can follow us on all social media at Scary Hours Mobb, all one word. That is my creative. Again, that is my creative content collective. And I'd be more than happy to engage you guys, talk to you guys. We got a lot of stuff on the way. All this stuff essentially is just new to us. We started it back in June, as I said earlier. And I'll be more than happy to take the time out and talk to you. I love interacting and talking about anime, video games, anything. So one more time, thank you so much to the Anime Degens for allowing me this opportunity to come on their show and give them some terrible takes on anime. It's been a pleasure. It's been a gas. It's been a blast. And once again, I am HollywoodHexx. You can call me whatever you like, HollywoodHexx or friend. Thank you so much for your time.
Yeah,
Join us on Anime Degens Discord, and we can talk all things anime.
There you go. It's been a great time. Just talking about all these different anime. Usually, I don't have anyone to talk with about it on our little, finale shows and stuff like that. So it's a fun time this time. Those links will be in the description. And so you can find them there. Just want to let y'all know as well. Make sure you rate the podcast. Make sure you subscribe to, HollywoodHexx's channel, Scary Hours Mobb's channel. Make sure you give them a like. Make sure you rate them too. And I guess that's about it. Linktree.com/animedegens, and we'll see y'all on Tuesday for the weekly rundown. Peace.
Great seeing you folks. Peace.